Welcome to Dolly Talk. How is everybody doing? Oh, we have a excuse me, we have a interesting trial going on in Ohio again. Thornton Demon Thomas is accused of felonious assault and crap, I forgot to get the charges up. Oh wait, no, I got him up. Haha. See? Look at me, all ready to go without even trying. Um, hey, Erica. Well, first of all, let me say hi to everybody in chat. I am getting ahead of myself. Mads is here. Erica, how are you? Knit a wow. Watch it live, so I won't be with you today. That's okay. Y'all are gonna love his attorney. What I have seen, which is not a lot yet, he is very good, which is not something I usually say about the lawyers I've seen in this courtroom. Baseball. I'm conflicted, Scott. I'll pop in when you can, I understand. Martha was here earlier. How you doing, Martha? And Louise was first. Okay. So let's see. Oh, and I think the Donna Adelson sentencing is going on as well right now. So people might be popping in a little bit. But we'll go over this real quick. State of Ohio versus Thomas Thornton Demon, or Thornton Demon Thomas. Uh, 4 charges: felonious assault, second-degree felony; 2 assaults, felony third degree; and a strangulation, third-degree felony. So we got this scheduled for today and tomorrow. Not sure if it'll go a third day yet, but we shall see. So let us get started. Louise is here. How you doing, Louise? Where the hell did I put the tab? There. Okay.
Now going to hear the opening statements of the attorneys, as I told you.
Let me try refreshing to see if closed caption is available yet. I just ended it. Still processing, but we'll try to get in a little bit. So on the left is the defense, Thornton Demon Thomas. We'll call him Demon because everybody names their children Demon. Bailiff, and then the prosecutor and detective on the right. And his attorney is very good from what I've seen. So it's going to be pretty entertaining, I think. I've only seen a little bit today, but it's off voir dire. And the interesting thing was the prosecutor made him out to be a baby, like a child having a temper tantrum. Whereas the defense was like, to the jury, this is an adult, right? You're supposed to treat him like an adult. It's very condescending the way the prosecutor's talking to him. So it's a strategy, but we'll see how it goes. I've only seen a little bit of voir dire and a little bit of the opening. So I'm just kind of hearing from Scott about some of this.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Was everybody able to follow my instructions and admonitions over our break?
Thank you, Louise.
Now going to hear the opening statements of the attorneys. As I told you before, the opening statements are not evidence.
Thank you.
They are the opportunity that each side has to preview their case for you. We've agreed in advance that each side will have up to 15 minutes for their opening. Ms. Trainer, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, on July 23rd of 2024, defendant was incarcerated at the Warren Correctional Institution. Officers had received a tip that there was a possible weapon located in the defendant's cell. Pursuant to policy and procedures in place at the prison, Officer Sycamore and Officer Romine, on duty at the time, and partners, plan to conduct a cell search of defendant's cell in an effort to locate the alleged weapon. They called for assistance from another officer who was in the block next door. Officer Blythe responded.
Dealing
They
with
removed the
Weatherby.
defendant and his cellmate at the time from the cell and placed them in the day room outside of the cell. Everyone else on the block had been locked down, so the only person out was the defendant and his cellmate. They conducted a search, and during that search, they encountered numerous items of contraband, items that the defendant and his cellmate were not allowed to have pursuant to prison policies. Items they were prohibited from possessing,
Baby oil.
such as a large amount of homemade liquor, homemade wine,
Oh, little entrepreneur.
items such as pillows and blankets that had been made from materials that they were not supposed to be possessing,
Uh-oh.
and also fans that were in altered condition.
Fans?
Inmates are typically, you're going to hear, inmates are allowed to have fans. However, if they are altered in any manner, they are not allowed to have them, and they're considered to be contraband. As these items were being removed, you're going to see the video of both the cell search and of the surveillance on the day room where the defendant was located. He became increasingly upset, yelling and cussing at the COs, and eventually knocking a water cooler off of the table.
Poor guy's a little hot under the collar. Uh-oh.
Now, once that happens, what you just saw, knocking the coolers off the table, the officers on scene gave multiple directives to the defendant to cuff up. They're going to tell you about pre-aggression indicators and the pre-aggression indicators that the defendant was exhibiting during this encounter. He was becoming increasingly upset, increasingly more violent, increasingly more hostile, and for officer safety, they instructed the defendant to cuff up. And as we discussed in voir dire, that means turn around, put your hands behind your back, and I'm going to place handcuffs on you multiple times, 5, 6, 7 times, upwards of 8, 10 times. They instructed him to cuff
11
up.
times.
He refused to do so, increasing in volume, increasing in aggression, demanding, they call a white shirt. You're going to learn that a white shirt is a supervisor. Okay.
You don't got to bring
He
race
refused to
into it.
comply, and they ended up deploying what we call OC spray, which is pepper spray, in order to try to contain the defendant. And eventually, all 3 of them pulled out the spray. They sprayed him. Now you're going to hear as a result of this spray, it's kind of goes all over the place too. So not only are they hitting the defendant, they're getting the backsplash from the spray as well. So affecting their sight, their vision, their ability to contain the defendant as well. You're going to hear that there is a process for an inmate who wants to contest items that are removed from his cell. Inmates are provided that process as soon as they enter the prison system. There is a procedure that they follow. Things are reviewed, and an independent board makes the determination whether or not the item should have been removed from the cell. The procedure is there for a reason. The process is there for a reason. It's there to keep the situation under control at the time. It's there to keep everyone, inmates included, safe. Now, after being sprayed, you're going to see additional video, and the defendant kind of moves over to the left side and ends up near a wall and a door. Officer Blythe, Officer Sycamore, and Officer Romine follow him, and you're going to see handcuffs out, still giving orders to cuff up. Defendant is still resisting. A hand is placed on his back. He is not pushed. He is not shoved. A hand simply is placed on his back in an effort to get the handcuffs on. At that point, you're going to see video and the defendant flips out.
Huh?
He spins around. He starts hitting and punching the officers involved. 3-on-1 at this time. Defendant, as you can see, is a bigger guy. And
Oh.
3 officers still are not able to contain him. Officer Sycamore, as a result of several punches to the face, ends up suffering from a fractured tooth. He ended up having half of it broken off. You're going to see photos of that. And Officer Romine, in addition to being hit multiple times, ends up at the defendant's mercy in a chokehold. He has an arm around his neck for upwards of 30 seconds, which may not seem like a long time, but 30 seconds is a heck of a long time when you can't breathe. You're going to see that
Chauvin.
video and from multiple angles, and you're going to hear Officer Romine calling for help. You're going to hear his voice, and it's going to be evident in the sound on that audio that the man could not breathe.
Wait.
He was in fear for his life. It took ultimately 6 or 7 officers to finally contain the defendant and pull him off Officer
So he
Romine.
couldn't breathe, but he could scream?
Corrections officers, ladies and gentlemen, have an extraordinarily dangerous job. Rules are in place
Denisha?
in the prison for a reason. If those rules aren't followed, people get hurt. The defendant did not follow the rules on July the 23rd of 2024. He threw a temper tantrum because they were taking away his fan. And unlike that toddler we discussed in voir dire that can be simply redirected, this is taking place in a hostile, dangerous environment. And instead of simply following directives to cuff up, which would have ended the situation immediately, he chose to fight, he chose to hit, he chose to punch, and he chose to strangle individuals who were simply trying to do their jobs. This is not a self-defense case, ladies and gentlemen. This is a case of officers following the rules, following procedures, and defendant knowingly causing physical harm, serious physical harm to Officer Sycamore and Officer Romine. And we were going to ask for a finding of guilty as to all charges at the close of evidence. Thank you.
Ms. Ringel?
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. The nice thing about a trial is that you get to hear both sides of the story. And this case has a lot more to it than the outline of the facts that the prosecution laid out to you before. What are the evidence you're going to see in this case? Well, the evidence you're going to see, and I'll make sure, can everyone hear me okay if I'm away from the microphone? Okay. Because I don't want to block the view. The evidence in the case you're going to see are the ODRC videos and their policies. ODRC, Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Corrections. You're going to see not just this little video that the prosecution showed you in opening from the surveillance camera. You're going to get the body cam video of the officers. And you're going to get to hear what happened before this incident, how this incident happened, and what it was. Because I agree with Ms. Tranter. The evidence in this case will be about following rules and following procedures. But the evidence in this case will also include the policies and procedures that the corrections officers are supposed to follow. And what you are going to hear in this case is 3 things. First, the corrections officers in this case created the situation and provoked Mr. Thomas. Number 2, you are going to hear that the corrections officers violated their duty under their policies to de-escalate the situation. And third, you're going to hear that they use excessive force in order to gain compliance. So what do we mean by that?
Mr. Engel, if you could move towards the microphone so that the recording can pick you up.
Thank you.
And I think if I stand here, I won't be in the way. First thing you're going to hear about a personal property policy. And you're going to see in this policy that, quote, it is the policy of the ODRC to provide IPs, that's incarcerated persons, the opportunity to possess a reasonable amount of personal property. In other words, you're going to see that cell and it's got stuff in it. He's allowed to have that stuff in it. You're also going to hear about a search policy. And 2 things are going to be important in that search policy.
Sure, Christine.
reasonable care shall be taken during the search so as not to damage or destroy cell contents or fixtures. In other words, they have to be respectful of the inmate's personal property.
Hope you're
The
doing
second
well.
thing you're going to hear is that if there is contraband, that the location in which it is discovered must be documented. And I'll tell you what, you're never going to see, in this case, a list documenting contraband in this case.
Huh.
Most importantly, you're going to get a copy of the use of force policy from ODRC. And I want you to focus on, when you hear the testimony, the section dealing with duty to de-escalate. And it says that all staff are required to use interpersonal communication skills and behavioral intervention techniques to de-escalate a situation whenever it is safe and possible to do so. In other words, you're going to hear that they can't just go to their pepper spray, which is force, and spray people in the face when they have other techniques available to them. You're going to hear and read that they should be mindful to create physical space between themselves and a hostile incarcerated person who does not pose a danger to self or others, allowing for time and distance to be factors in managing an incarcerated person's behavior. And I want you to note in that video, if you saw, the only inmates there were Mr. Thomas and his cellmate sitting there. Everyone else, the place was empty. The place had been emptied out and everyone was in their cell other than these folks while their cell was being searched. So you saw a lot of space. I want you to note that space and that distance that's there. You're going to hear about him asking for a supervisor, and that's consistent with the policy. The policy requires these corrections officers that when initial interpersonal communication efforts do not improve the situation and there is time and availability, staff should consider bringing in crisis responders or other appropriate staff members to assist in resolving the situation. And finally, and this is going to be a key factor, the policy says you can't create the situation and then use force to resolve it. In other words, the obligation is on the guards to be respectful at the very beginning and not provoke it, because it says that they're expected to maintain and display respect and professionalism to one another and the incarcerated persons for whom they are employed to manage safely and humanely. And you should pay attention to this. To minimize the need for the use of force, an employee should never verbally or physically provoke or abuse an incarcerated person. And then you'll hear about the investigation, which includes the same thing, that they're supposed to look for any other policy violations or procedure violations related to the use of force. So what happened here? Well, what happened here is correct, that there was supposedly a tip, or they had a reason to go into his cell, and they were looking for a shank there. And it's also true that they did find some what's called hooch, in other words, homemade liquor that the cell. But you're going to hear that it was actually the roommate's homemade liquor, cellmate's homemade liquor. And the cellmate, at one point on one of the tapes you'll have, says, yeah, it's mine. They come out and say, who wants to take responsibility for it? He says, yeah, it's mine. So it's not this defendant who's in trouble for having homemade liquor in his cell. But what I want you to note is that as they're searching his cell, he's not hostile to them at all. He walks out of the cell, takes his tablet, which is something he can use to read on, and he's just standing there.
No, he's playing Candy Crush.
Then you're going to get the body cam figure. They claim they found a knife, but what you'll really hear is that they found a plastic knife. And they seem to be disappointed at that, because then you hear them say, and it's real soft, but you'll hear it, well, there's got to be something in here somewhere. Meaning they were going into the cell looking for something to get these folks in trouble, not really to go after a shank, as they claimed. Then what happens is they take the pillows from these inmates. And you'll see, even while that's going on, I want you to watch the video in this corner here. My little lighter works. In the corner. That's him standing here. You'll see he's still standing there quietly. And the pillows are not contraband, but they're taking them anyway, because they are harassing him and trying to provoke a reaction from him.
Oh, not much orthopedic. Oh no, they're taking his My Pillow. Mike Lindell's gonna be pissed.
Now, what happens next is that Mr. Thomas starts to complain. And yet he uses some colorful language and some words that even I won't repeat. And there aren't many, but this is a couple up there. But you will hear that it is a lie, a flat lie, when these officers say that they took their fans because they were somehow contraband. Rather, what will be very obvious from the evidence in this case is that they took his fans because Mr. Thomas said, I want to talk to a supervisor, and he complained about it. And let me be clear about something, context, because it sounds like this is a dispute over a little fan. You saw what the cells are like, and you saw what the place like. Prison is not air conditioning. This is July. So having a fan in your cell is actually a really big deal for these inmates. And the guards know that. And you'll hear that they are taking his fans to punish him for daring and having the audacity to speak up and complain about what was going on.
Hey, Donald.
Just stand there. We're going to take pictures. All right, just stand there. John, don't keep talking. I'm going to take your fan. Hey, one more word. I'll take you. Okay, take your fan.
And just in case that's not clear what's going on here, you hear from another officer that say, hey, they're going to run their mouths. F it, we're going to take it.
John, don't keep talking. I'm going to take your fan. Hey, one more word. I'll take you. Okay, take your fan.
The defendant wasn't a fan of their actions.
Hey, they want to run their mouths?
Strangely, about 5 minutes remaining.
So here you'll see a close-up of what's going on there, all that's going on. You'll see him standing there. Now, the defendant asks him to cuff up because he gets upset, he knocks over that water cooler, and they say cuff up. And he says, can I get a white shirt in here? In other words, can I get a supervisor because they're taking my fans, they're violating my rights, and I want to complain about it. And these officers will know that if he gets a supervisor in there, they could be the ones who get in trouble because they have violated all the rules they have. So they will know the situation. So they spray him in the face. And they spray him right in the face. Now, what the testimony, if you read the reports, will be from the officers, is they'll say he ignored multiple directives.
Hey, Dreamberg.
He finally directed to cuff up. He didn't comply. He violently attacked all three officers, hitting all three officers. Then he pulled his pants up, displaying what you heard called pre-assault indicators. Well, let's look at what's actually going on here. He's got his hands out. You'll see he's not complaining. And when they actually spray him, see this moment here in the bottom left, his hands are behind his back. He's actually complying when he does it, but they spray him anyway. And then he runs away, goes into the corner, and it gets worse because what's described as a struggle, you'll actually see on the video, are these corrections officers and others pulling his hair and beating him. You'll see another.
It's pretty excessive. Yeah, that's really.
And what you'll see are not what's sometimes called compliance strikes, meaning you're trying to hit someone to get their attention so that they pay attention and they comply and do what they want to do. But what you're going to see is, especially this officer here, beating the defendant multiple times, just hitting him in the back of the head. You see other people hitting him in the back of the head. You'll see an officer here trying to actually hit him, and all you see is like a muppet. He's just kind of hitting into the air, trying to hit him, not trying to get any compliance. And then you'll see they actually spray him with pepper spray right into the eyes. And that comment, I can't breathe, Mr. Thomas, after he gets sprayed right in the face again with pepper spray.
I got Lawrence Powell in here.
So what are you going to look for in the evidence? You're going to look for, did the corrections officers create the situation and provoke them? Did they act consistent with their duty to de-escalate the situation? And then they use excessive force afterwards as they're trying to get them in handcuffs. What you'll also hear is that the Highway Patrol has got all those videos. They've got that video of people beating this guy in the back of the head. They've got those videos of threatening to take his property, even though all we wanted to do was ask for a supervisor to come here. They don't have evidence of a lot of misconduct by these police officers. But what sort of investigation is done by the Highway Patrol of that? Nothing. That's what we're here. This is all an effort to cover up for misconduct by these officers. And Mr. Thomas is going to testify. He's going to sit in that stand right there. And he's going to tell you what life is like in there. He's going to tell you that he had some mental health issues. That he was on a mental health caseload, and they knew about that. And they were taking advantage of that to try to provoke him. They created this situation.
Mr. Thomas will testify and
surrounded by
tell you
those
what
who are trying
life
to
is like
keep
in
him
prison.
Has a right to defend himself. And
Hell
Judge Oden will
yeah.
instruct you on the law for that. So I thank you for your time. Mr. Thomas, thanks you for your time.
I mean, that you don't put that in your opening unless he's going to do it. Wow, this is going to be good. Yeah, wow. Okay, this is exciting.
Attention on this job.
Ms. Trainer, call your first witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. State calls Kevin Chamberlain.
Really, Nidawau?
Thank you very
Ms. Trainer, are you going to need your laptop for this part or the?
Probably not, but just in case, I'll hook it up. Get started going creepy when Mr. Engel disconnected.
I am disconnected.
I'm going to just turn the TV
I
off.
like doing that.
Sir, do you swear from the testimony you've given in this case to be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth? Help you out. I do. All right, seat up here.
Okay. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
We're still at morning.
Yeah.
All right. State your name, please. Spell your name for the court reporter.
Kevin Chamberlain, Chamblin.
And how are you currently employed?
Investigator,
Okay. Investigator for who?
Warren Correctional Institution.
Okay. And how long have you been with Warren Correctional?
About 25 years.
Okay. And I've been an investigator the whole time?
Nope, I've been the investigator since about May of 22 till present.
Okay. What did you do prior to becoming an investigator?
I was a corrections officer for about 13 years, lieutenant for about 6, and then gang coordinator, and then moved over into this position.
Okay. How long did you say you were a corrections officer?
About 13 years.
About 13 years. Okay. Your whole time was it Warren?
Yes.
Okay. And tell the jury about a little bit about what your duties entail now as an investigator.
So we conduct mostly administrative investigations. We also are liaisons with the state highway patrol and other stuff. If stuff becomes like a criminal matter, then we contact the state patrol so they can be brought in and to do their stuff.
Okay. Tell us what you mean by administrative investigations.
Administrative investigations, possibly dirty staff, EEO investigations, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
This is Ohio.
So you mentioned the highway patrol. So when something happens within the prison that kind of crosses the line there between administrative and criminal, that's when you call in the highway patrol, right?
Correct.
Okay. Tell us about the prison's relationship with the highway patrol. You guys have certain investigators that are assigned to your prison, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And who are your investigators?
Well,
Yeah, it's changed,
It's
right?
changed,
That was a
changes
bad
everything.
question. So let's go back to July of 24. Who were your investigators in July of 24?
be Trooper Clance.
Okay. And he is no longer in that position, correct? Because he's moved on to other things, right?
Correct.
All right. But at the time of the incident we're talking about, Trooper, now Sergeant Clance, was assigned to the prison. Okay. Are you familiar with something called the Rules Infraction Board?
Yes.
Okay. Tell them what the Rules Infraction Board is.
To sum it up, basically, it's like court for prison. It gets a conduct report. It's severe enough that it needs to go on past the sergeant's level. They refer it to RIB, and it's basically court.
Okay. And is that a situation that happens only when there is a criminal incident involved?
No, it can happen other incidences that are harsher in nature.
Okay. And how is this board, who is it comprised of?
They will have a lieutenant, would be the RIB chairman, who would serve as the judge, and then they have another person that would sit on the board or sit next to them to hear the conduct report case. That could be any other staff member.
So 2 people?
Yes.
Okay. And what does the process look like?
They bring me, they get, the lieutenant gets the case referred to RIB, and they have obviously certain documents they need to go over. And then once the case comes up to the RIB to be heard, they bring the offender in and they go over the rights when it concerns RIB. And then they go over if they want any witnesses, they want the charging official, and then they go over the body of the conduct report, and then the inmate can offer a defense as any other information that seems that he's not guilty of it. They go ahead and go over everything, including other possible video evidence, any other evidence that goes for the case, and then they go ahead and basically render a decision.
Okay, so just like court, inmates have an opportunity to testify, bring in witnesses, or any other evidence that they choose to do so, correct?
Correct.
All right. And it's the board, the lieutenant, you said, and one other staff member that issues the decision, correct?
Correct.
All right. And what are the consequences of, say that the board finds an inmate is liable for during an RID hearing or guilty? What are the then consequences?
It could vary greatly to, they could either find him not guilty or verbal warning, all the way up to increased security level.
Okay. All right. Can you give us just some general information about Warren Correction Institution? Like, how's it set up?
Warren Correctional Institution is a state-run correctional facility. It houses basically 4 levels of security inmates: 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s, including death row. The majority of the population is level 3 population. The buildings are set up in more of a dormitory with cells. Each unit has two ranges in it. We house approximately, at this current time, about 1,000 inmates.
Okay. Level 4 being the highest level of security?
Correct.
Okay. What is an inmate's security level based upon?
Basically based upon their prison record. If they get found guilty of some rule violations that constitutes a threat of security or safety, they can usually stay. Usually those are the 3s.
So is it fair to say that their security level is fluid, can change at any given time?
Correct.
Okay, based upon their behavior and rules and fractions, that kind of thing.
Correct.
All right. Do you know how many COs, at least at the time of this incident, how many COs were employed?
We stay right around 200.
200 COs
Corrections officers, yes.
for approximately 1,000 inmates.
Mhm.
Okay. Is there a state ratio or anything that has to be abided by?
So we have a TO. It's around 250, 255. Although due to the hiring issues and stuff like that, it stays around 200.
All right. Tell us about are there certain areas of the facility designated for certain things? For example, like, is there based on security levels or any other classification?
I got you. Like I said, the majority of them are level 3s. That they are usually in the housing units. Our level 1 and level 2 inmates have a dorm away from the level 3 dorms on top of the hill. And then our higher security, we have the 3 high security units that includes the mental health unit, and then TPU or segregation as well.
Okay. Tell us about the mental health unit.
The mental health unit is the term is a residential treatment unit. Basically, we have medical or mental health professionals, including a couple doctors, that monitor and deal with mental health needs of the inmates.
Okay. And approximately how many inmates are housed at any given time in that unit?
The higher security unit is about 30. That's where they have mostly 3s and 4s in there, and that's where they have. I think we only have 1 death row inmate right now. And then the other unit holds about 60 other inmates, who are typically the level 3 mental health inmates.
Okay. And how is it determined if somebody gets housed in the mental health unit?
I'm not real familiar with that. I do know that it's somebody from the mental health in Columbus, the support center is the ones that actually probably do the review and then make the recommendations because of very limited bed space on who they can let into that unit.
Okay. Is this something that happens kind of on the front end when a person gets admitted into prison?
It can, but it also happens while they're incarcerated, because things do change during the course of their incarceration, where they do end up in the mental health in the unit, one of the units.
Okay. Can an inmate request to be in the mental health unit?
They can, but it's very, very hard to get into that unit. There's a lot of stuff that goes on from the mental health aspect and policy procedures and stuff that it's hard to get in. It's hard to get in there.
Okay. So a mere request to go into the mental health unit does not necessarily mean that they're going to be moved into that unit.
Correct.
Okay. Is there a review process when an inmate requests that?
I think there is. I think that they would do is they would send a request up or a kite to the mental health asking about it, and then they would probably interview them and try to see if they meet their criteria
Okay.
for that.
I'm going to back you up because you used a term that the jury probably is not familiar with. You used the word kite. Can you explain what that is?
Kite is basically like an email or a letter within the prison system that they can send to a particular department, sometimes a member, and basically asking a question or have a concern that they want to bring up.
Okay. They meaning the inmates?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right. And how do they do that?
If all else fails, they can do a paper kite, but typically it's going to be on every unit has a kiosk or an area or a tablet that they have access to send it. But outside of that, every inmate is issued a tablet that has access to that on that device.
Okay. And is there probably going to use the wrong term here, so forgive me, but is there what they say, an app for that, right? Is
Yes,
that
it's
a direct link?
It's on the tablet or the device.
Okay, gotcha. So every inmate has access to either through a tablet or through their own kiosk, has access to be able to send a kite at any time. Is that fair?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Are there cell searches that ever take place at WCI?
Yes, daily.
Daily. Okay. What's the purpose of a cell search?
Cell search is to basically check the cell for contraband, other security issues, sanitation issues, stuff of that nature.
Okay. And are there guidelines in place that provide for when a cell search can happen?
Not so much when, but each officer, I believe, currently is required to do 2 cell searches per shift. They do track it so that every cell gets searched within usually within a week. And the criteria and information concerning cell searches comes to rise from the policy. And then
How are you doing, Nick? Thanks for the redirect. I appreciate it. We are watching a trial that happened or started this morning in Ohio. A Thornton Demon Thomas. He was in prison and got into an altercation with some prison guards. What seemed like it'd be okay, he's guilty, but he wasn't doing really much to provoke the guards, and the amount of force they used, to me seemed a little excessive from the brief snippets I've seen. What's also very interesting is his lawyer is quite good, from what I've seen. So it's the second or third trial I've seen of something that happened in prison, in this county, and it's the first one was not guilty, the second one was guilty. So it'll be interesting to see how this one goes, but it's very interesting. Oh, not far from me. Hi, welcome M169. Tired. Ooh, yeah, way past my bedtime there. So
and
we
that is
just
also
started.
information is in the post orders that the officers signed forward saying that they understood that and reviewed that every day.
Okay. So they have to perform, you said 2 per shift?
Each officer is 2 per shift.
And are those selected at random?
They can be at random or for any reason, really.
Okay. For instance, if they receive a tip that somebody might have something they weren't supposed to?
Correct.
Okay.
Thanks, Nick.
All right. So
Hope you're doing well.
you said that there are procedures in place for how to conduct a cell search.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
So every officer, when they come in, they get trained on cell searches, on how to do a cell search, different levels of cell search if they're looking for minor contraband or major contraband, et cetera.
Okay. What's the difference between major and minor contraband?
Minor contraband could be a paperclip. A major contraband could be weapons, drugs, homemade alcohol, or cell phones.
Okay. And is there differentiation of the consequence that follows when somebody possesses a major versus minor contraband?
Yes, obviously the major contraband is deemed more of a security issue. So therefore the penalties for having that is a little more, could be more severe.
All right. Do inmates ever get upset about their cells being searched?
Yes,
Okay. And do they ever get upset about items that are confiscated during cell searches?
sometimes, yes.
Okay. And is there a process that is in place for them to protest items that were taken that they believe should not have been taken?
Yes, they can get a hold of the unit sergeant who's here's like a conduct report for the property, or they can submit a kite and or informal complaint, which is another message, it's a more formal message to either that supervisor or the inspector who handles the grievance process.
Okay. And how is that procedure made known to the inmates?
Every inmate when they come through orientation, they actually have the inspector speak to let them know about the grievance process. And I'm pretty sure it's also in an inmate handbook that they know how to access that system.
Okay. Is that, again, something that's accessible on their tablets or their kiosks?
I know the handbooks are in every unit, and they're accessible. But yeah, the grievance process is accessible through their tablets and application.
Okay. Now, you made reference to a unit sergeant as being another alternative for them to protest something. Tell us about that.
Every unit has a unit sergeant. They're responsible for sanitation and cleanliness of the unit. Also, they hear conduct reports, and then that also part of the many duties that they have is when it comes to property issues. If an inmate does have a property issue, if the inmate wants to go ahead and grieve it or they have an issue with it, they can contact the sergeant. The sergeant can take a look at the property. If they deem that the property was unjustly taken, they can possibly return it or keep it, and then depending on the property, refer the case to RRB.
Okay. And is that something that's done through the kite system as well?
It can, but as unit sergeants, they can send them a kite, but the unit sergeants overall generally have a set schedule that they require to be down in the housing units. So they're down in the unit several times of the week during the week that they'll be able to be contacted.
Okay.
In
So
person.
they could just go to them right out. Okay. Is there a unit sergeant, you said several times a week, so there's not one there on like a 24/7 basis?
Correct.
Okay. So they're there on a set schedule.
Yep.
All right. So if somebody wants to talk to a unit sergeant about something and they're not present, what's the proper procedure?
They're just going to have to wait. If they're just not there, then they're just going to have to wait. They don't really, inmates can't, they can request a supervisor, but they don't have the right to a supervisor whenever they deem, or else supervisors may be down in the units all the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I was going to ask you something else about that. That went straight out of my head. So
Hey, Helen.
we'll come back to that. What does the term white shirt mean?
White shirt is basically a supervisor, lieutenant or captain.
Did it
I remember
post
what I was going to ask you.
Nick's link in chat?
Do you have an estimate on how long a grievance process review would take?
They have 7 days to render an answer. And
Okay.
then if they disagree with that answer, they can
Hey, Texas.
send it on to the next level to a grievance. And then the grievance is handled by the institutional inspector, who then has another timeline to answer that one. And then if they disagree, they can also appeal that decision and to have someone from basically central office that oversees the inspectors to review the case.
Okay, so several levels of appeal.
Correct.
And the first one has to be addressed within a week, you said?
Yes.
Okay, so not like it's going to sit on somebody's desk for a month without being addressed.
Correct.
All right. Okay. Are you involved in any of the grievance process reviews?
I am not.
Okay. Are you aware when they're filed?
No, I don't really get notified of it. I mean, I could check and look, but it's not really within the scope of my job duties.
And did you have occasion to check during this instance to see if Mr. Thomas filed any sort of grievance?
I did not.
You did not check.
They did not check.
All right, so let's now turn to the date in question, which is July 23rd of 2024. You were in your current capacity at WCI on that time?
Correct.
Okay. And you said Sergeant Clance was your investigator?
Correct.
In July 2024, were you familiar with Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know how long he had been an inmate at the time?
A couple years. I think actually he came to WCI in 2019.
Okay. And let me ask you this, is it common for you to know an inmate by name or face?
I try to know as many inmates as possible, but obviously the ones that they may be involved in stuff, that the ones that I'll know more obviously about, because I've either had their cells searched or I've reviewed things about them, whether or not be included in the possible gang activity and other nefarious activities inside the prison.
Can we approach, Your Honor?
I'll sustain the objection. Ladies and gentlemen, you're to disregard that last portion of the answer. The fact that Mr. Thomas may be incarcerated, the fact that he may be known to these people, your duty is to determine what happened on this particular day, what happened before, people's
He's a
character.
bad
That is not to be
person,
used in
Jerry.
any way to assume that it is more likely that they acted in a certain way on this occasion for which he is charged. Let's move on from this, Ms. Trainer.
Yes, Your Honor. Do you know where he was housed on July 23rd?
Yes, it would have been 3 Bravo.
Okay. And what does that mean, 3 Bravo?
It's a general population housing unit.
Okay. So your housing units are designated different names, correct?
Yes, so that they can be identified for location purposes and housing purposes.
And you said it's general population?
Correct.
Okay. And how many levels are on 3 Bravo?
Security levels or like
Physically, how is it made up?
It's got a first and top 2 stories.
2 stories.
Yep,
Okay.
2 ranges.
All right. And what does a typical day look like for an inmate that would be housed in general population on 3 Bravo?
So first thing in the morning, they do count around 6 a.m. They get released, and sometime within the next couple hours, they'll be released to go to chow. Every unit is escorted at a particular time, so it's organized and they get everybody fed. At some point during the day, they will get the opportunity to participate in recreation. And then noon is lunch. They have count mid-morning, count in the afternoon around 3:30, and then dinner after that. And then lockdown is about 9:30. It's at 9:30 at night for the final count, but they do have intermittent ranges out in the day rooms, go on passes, go on different stuff that they've got going on throughout the day.
Okay. So they're on a pretty set schedule
For the most part, yeah.
for the most part.
Recess.
All right. And back in July 2024, were you familiar with Officer Owen Sycamore?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know where he was assigned at that time?
He was assigned to 3 Bravo.
Okay. And how about Casey Bromine?
He was also assigned to 3 Bravo.
Okay. And you knew him as well?
Yeah.
Okay. And Officer Jesse Blythe? Do you know him?
Yes.
Okay. And where was he assigned at the time?
I believe he's actually assigned to the housing unit right next to 3 Alpha.
All right. So at some point through your employment, did you become aware of an incident that occurred between those 3 officers and Mr. Thomas on July 23rd?
Yes.
Let me see if I can get a closed captioning yet.
Throughout the day.
Okay. So they're on a pretty set schedule
For the most part, yeah.
for the most part. Back in July. And okay. And where was he assigned at the time?
I believe he's actually assigned to the housing unit right next to 3 Alpha.
All right. So at some point through your employment, did you become aware of an incident that occurred between those 3 officers and Mr. Thomas on July 23rd?
Yes.
All right. Tell us how you became aware of what happened.
I was in a group text for notifications when it comes to certain incidences that happen about the incident.
Okay. So you were not on property when it happened?
Correct.
Okay. Do you know what time of day it occurred approximately?
After evening.
Okay.
I'd have to check to make sure exactly what time when it happened. I think it was in the evening
Okay. Do you work like a regular 9 to 5 schedule or
for the most part.
for
Yes.
the most part?
Yeah.
Okay. So fair to say it happened after your shift had ended for the day?
Correct.
All right. Okay. So what information did you initially have about what happened?
Basically, there was a staff assault. Basically, who was involved? What was the steps being taken immediately after the incident? That stuff pretty much just cut and dry the basics of what happened.
Okay. And when you are in a situation where you're dealing with a staff assault, is this something that falls within your capacity as an investigator to investigate?
No, I wouldn't do the investigation. These are conduct reports and stuff like that would be involved in that. Would be obviously there's already a process for that. But it being possible criminal matter, I would contact OSB.
Okay. And is that what you did in this situation?
Correct.
All right. Okay. Tell us what a conduct report is.
Conduct report is basically it's a ticket. This is basically how I put it.
Okay. What does that mean?
It's like a parking ticket or a citation. Basically, it's a accusation with a set of rules that you can select from for the possible violations of being charged, and then that gets electronically submitted, and then it goes through the process, basically the RIB process, if it gets to RIB or if it's heard at the sergeant's level and closed.
Okay. So there was a conduct report issued for this particular incident?
Yes, I'm sure there was.
Are you the one to issue that, or is that somebody else?
In some cases, I have to check. In some cases, I would do the conduct reports. In this case, I don't recall that I did.
Okay, fair enough. And there's video surveillance, obviously, at WCI, correct?
Correct.
Is that part of your job to maintain that and through the ordinary course of business?
Yes, when incidents happen, go ahead and get the dates, times of the events, and then go ahead and download those videos. They get sent to our server, and then I pull it from the server onto typically a flash drive to give to the state patrol.
Okay. And the officers who work within WCI have body cams as well, correct?
Correct.
All right. And same thing, is that part of your job to maintain those body worn camera footage?
Yes, for not in general, but for incidences, yes, I would get those body cam footage and get them shared with the troopers.
Okay, I was going to say, sure, with OSP who does the investigation, correct?
Correct.
All right. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the policy for use of force at WCI. Is there a policy and procedure in place?
Yes, there's a state policy that every institution has adopts and trains on.
Okay, and that's through the Ohio Administrative Code, is that?
Yes, there's 63 UOF and then the 5120-9-01. And there's sub parts like 02 and 03, but 01 is.
Okay, and this is like a general statement of procedure and policy and law that all prisons in Ohio are expected to follow.
Correct.
Okay. Tell us what, as far as being in a correctional setting, what is the difference between deadly versus less than deadly force?
Less than deadly is the most common. It covers a lot of different
I'd hope
ranges as far
so.
as, circumstantials. Deadly force is very specific and thankfully not hardly ever used. So, and where basically with deadly force, whatever your actions as a staff member could likely cause the death or serious physical harm of an incarcerated person.
Okay. Are you familiar with OC spray?
Yes.
Okay, tell them what that is.
The technical term is OCM capsin spray. It's basically pepper spray. It's every staff member gets issued it.
What, so when COs are on duty, they carry OC spray?
Correct.
Okay. What is that considered when an officer has to deploy OC spray? Is that considered use of force?
Yes, it's kind of considered the lowest level of force because there's never really any permanent damage, and it's usually they would rather them use that before trying to go to physical force.
Okay. What do officers carry during their shifts?
Keys, cuffs, radio, pepper spray. Most officers have a belt, a duty belt, body worn camera. Generally speaking, maybe a little pouch with some gloves in it. So a flashlight.
Okay. Do they carry any sort of baton or anything?
No, they do not.
Okay. Do they carry a gun?
No.
Okay. Do they carry anything aside from the OC spray that could be considered a weapon?
No.
Okay. And is there a particular policy or procedure that is listed for the use of OC spray?
It would fall underneath the use of force policy.
Okay. And are you familiar with the term pre-aggression indicators?
Yes.
What is a pre-aggression indicator in a prison context?
Pre-aggression indicators can also be viewed as a possible pre-assault indicators, aggressive behavior, aggressive physical stance, words, that kind of stuff.
Okay. Can you give some examples? You said words. What?
Yelling, highly agitated words, maybe the words that they're saying are threatening, clenched fist, pacing, different
Is he
stuff.
talking about my ex-girlfriend?
Officers are trained on those?
They are trained through the use of force policy about obviously potential pre-assault indicators, what to watch out for and to be cautious of.
Okay. And why is that important?
It's important so that you don't get assaulted, right? Try to maybe see what something could bad be getting ready to happen, so that you don't get assaulted.
Okay. When there is a use of force incident in the prison, whether it be OC spray or some sort of other physical altercation that happens, what happens after on the back end of that?
So every use of force is documented, bunch of paperwork, bunch of stuff that needs to be done. Once the packet gets done and reported, it gets submitted to the major and deputy, and who they review it, and then they determine. Then it goes to the warden, and then they decide if it needs to go to committee, which basically means that there's going to be another review, a more one-on-one type review of the case, and then that chairperson, like I said, goes over all the evidence, conducts interviews, and then makes a determination if the use of force was justified and appropriate.
Is an officer required to fill out a report for every incident, every use of force incident?
100%.
Does that include OC spray?
Yes. OC, using OC is force.
Okay, and that's just part of the process, right? These reports are filed.
Correct.
Okay, and does every filed report end in a hearing?
It gets reviewed. It gets reviewed by the major and the deputy. Not everyone gets sent to committee.
Okay,
If they've got questions, if the managing officer has questions about what happened, then yes, he will send it to the committee, which is basically the final step and final investigative review.
okay. And the major and the deputy are people that would have had no involvement on the front end with the incident. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so kind of an independent review, for lack of a better word. All right. Hypothetically, if a report is filed, the major and the deputy review it and they determine no unnecessary or excessive use of force, right? What happens at that point? Is the officer made aware of the decision?
If it doesn't go to committee and they say it's legit, it's completely legit, they don't require to let the officer know that it was done. Now, if it's not, if there's a question about it, then yes, they will know about it, but not if it's been legitimized.
Like closed out and
Correct.
no further action taken, right?
Correct.
It's only if it goes to a hearing to committee that the officer will be notified.
Correct.
Okay. Okay, I do not think I have any further questions. Where I'll ask you this. Warren Correctional Institution located in Warren County, state of Ohio.
Correct.
Okay, I have no further questions for you at this time. I'll pass it to Strong.
Mr. Engel, you may inquire.
Thank you. Thanks, Coach.
You bet.
Thank you.
This guy looks so familiar to me. What actor does he look like? Oh, John Lovitz. That's who he looks like.
Yeah, barely.
Acting.
Yeah.
So it was your job to review the evidence in this case, right?
Jesus. John
And part of the
Lovitz.
reason you do that is you're looking for any policy violations.
I gather the case to get it ready for the patrol. I don't really conduct an investigation with it.
So do you have a role to play if there is misconduct by officers?
Not necessarily, because there's already a procedure in place. Obviously, if there was something that happened that I seen, I would have to report that. But there's already the incident is already being investigated because of the use of force. There's already a mechanism in place to determine that.
So the highway patrol is doing that, right?
No, so the prison would do it because they've got a position in place to conduct a review of it. The patrol would obviously, if they get presented to something that there is a violation in there that they need to address, they will address it on their end.
So what would you do if you saw a violation?
I would report it to my superiors.
And do you review the use of force reports in this case?
I gather them. I don't necessarily have to review them. Like, I gather them because there's a packet done. I get the packet and then I send it to whoever. In this case, it would have been the state patrol. So I would get the packet and send it to them.
So let's drill down. In this case, did you gathered the use of force reports?
Correct.
Okay. And all the officers involved are required to fill them out, right?
Correct.
Did you read those?
I glanced over the front page to get the gist of it, but I wasn't required to read everything. Because like I said, I'm not the one making the
So
determination.
the answer is no, you didn't read them.
Correct.
Okay. So you, as the investigator for the prison, let me back up. You gathered all the videotapes too, right?
Correct.
So the surveillance tapes from the sky cameras,
Mhm.
and then the individual body cams.
Yes.
Did you review those?
Yes.
And did you compare the videotapes to the statements of the officers in the use of force reports?
again, it's not my responsibility to do all that. Like there's a use of force.
I don't care whose responsibility it is.
Right.
I want to know, you're the one who's testifying.
Yeah,
I just want to know what
that's
you did.
No, I did not. No,
You did not.
Nope.
So you never checked to see whether the use of force reports were accurate or not.
no, I just nope.
And you never checked to see whether the officers involved complied with all the policies involved.
No, I did not.
Okay, but you did testify to some of these policies. Let me ask you about that here. So if you look at tab A in your binder, there's something called a policy for searches of cells, right? We stipulated these exhibits, I believe. And so this is policy from ODRC about searches of cells, right?
Okay.
And you're familiar with that policy.
Yes.
And in your court, and so as you try to investigate this matter, you review this policy to make sure that everyone's complying with it, right?
Again, I did not investigate this.
Okay. But you did indicate that, well, I'm just trying to figure out what work you did. You're the investigator, right? And you gathered evidence here.
Right.
Okay. Did you gather and put in the packet of information this search policy?
No.
Okay. Now, you indicated that each officer is required to do a number of searches each shift.
Right.
Okay. So that's they have a quota for the number of cells they're supposed to search.
Mhm.
Do they also have a quota for the amount of contraband they're supposed to find?
No.
But each cell is then supposed to be searched one time a week.
Correct.
Okay. So you would expect if there was something illegal in the cell that it would be found every week then, right?
Hopefully, yes.
Okay, hopefully, especially if it's something big, like say a pillow, right?
Theoretically, yes.
Pillow's right there in plain sight. You would expect that it would be there, checked every week, and wouldn't be in the cell for more than a week, right?
Correct.
And same with a fan, right? If there's something wrong with a fan, it wouldn't be there for more than a week because someone would see it right away.
Correct.
Okay. I mean, these aren't items like sometimes you might be able to hide something. Right? People conceal things all the time, right?
Correct.
Okay, sometimes they put things behind mirrors or they under the bed or something like that, right?
Yes.
And so the search policy says, can I blow this up? One that's a Zoom Plus. I can do it. Okay, so what's supposed to happen is during a cell search, the individuals are to be removed from the cell, right?
Correct.
And here, I'm confused about something. The cell search occurred, it was after 9:30 at night, right?
It was in the evening. I'm not exactly sure the time, but
Was it after lockdown, do you know?
I don't recall. I'd have to check.
So is there something you could look at to check when that might be? That's what I thought. So what time is lockdown? You said 9 o'clock, 9:30?
9:30. It's a 9:30 count.
And so you guys often use military time, so 21:18, what time would that be?
21:30.
Okay, so that would be 21:30 would be lockdown. And are cell searches often conducted around the time of lockdown?
They can be. It's really up to the individual doing the cell searches when they can do it.
Okay. So now when we look at this policy again, it says that the search has to be systematic, right? That's point B. You're familiar with that, right?
Mhm.
Okay. You're supposed to look at fixtures, beds, look for false bottoms, secret compartments, right?
Correct.
Okay. It says reasonable care shall be taken during the search so as not to damage or destroy cell contents or fixtures. What's the point of that?
You want to treat the inmate property with respect.
Why is that important?
Because we're not there to punish them. We're there to do a job, and you can do a cell search without destroying the property. Now, obviously, if it's something that they need to seriously look for, then they can be a more in-depth cell search, which would require be going into the property more in depth.
So let me just be clear just for the jury. Using a cell search as a punishment, that would violate ODRC policies, right?
Correct.
And if you found out right information that a cell search was used as a punishment, what would you do?
If we could prove it, it could be subject to discipline.
If you discovered during the course of your investigation evidence that a cell search would be used as a punishment, what would you do as an investigator?
I would notify my boss.
Now, you also, I assume you can't take property as punishment either, right?
Correct.
So same thing applies. If you discovered that property had been taken as punishment, you would notify your supervisor.
Correct.
Okay. So now, in this case, it says also a list of contrabands and the location which was discovered must be documented, right?
Yes.
Did you ever obtain a list documenting the property that was taken out of Mr. Thomas's cell?
I did not.
Do you know if that even existed?
I do not know.
So can you sit here and testify that the officers complied with the policy, at least in terms of documenting what was done?
No, I can't.
Okay, did you notify your supervisors, like, hey, it appears that there's a violation of our policy here, so that someone could take corrective action?
I didn't because again, that was not my, it's not my job to review that part.
Okay, so but now that you're aware of it, right, what are you going to do about it?
I won't go back to work. I can report it.
Are you going to do that?
Yeah, I'll let my boss know.
And so, and the same, so as you review these videotapes, did you discover any evidence that property was taken as punishment?
Not as punishment.
Now, you said inmates, if they believe that property is taken incorrectly, they can complain about it.
Correct.
Okay, it's not a violation of the rules to complain about it, right?
Correct.
And they can ask for a sergeant to come down?
So if it's during normal business hours, they can request it, but the sergeant, and same with the supervisors, they're not required to show up down there over a complaint like that because there's already a process in place to complain about that.
Well, let me break this down here, right? So the inmate thinks that the property is taken incorrectly.
Mhm.
He can request that a sergeant come down, right? Let's stop at the request part, right?
Okay.
He's allowed to request it.
Yeah, you can request it.
Nothing wrong with that, right?
Correct.
And let me back up. If it turns out the inmate is correct and that the guards took property for an improper reason, there could be consequences for the guards then, right?
Yes.
They could be reprimanded.
Discipline.
They could be disciplined in some way, put on suspension, something like that.
Correct.
Right. So the guards obviously don't want to be found to have violated this policy and have taken things.
I'd assume so, yes.
Okay. So now let me back up. The inmate is allowed to request that a supervisor come down. Who makes the decision whether the supervisor is going to come down?
So the inmate can request it. The officer can call them, but they're not required to.
But it's not, so just so we're clear, nothing improper about the inmate asking for a sergeant to come down.
No.
Okay. And the usual practice is the sergeant will then decide whether they want to come down.
Usually what would happen, so it would be a lieutenant or white shirt because they're the ones that would be there after hours. We always have supervisors present, so it would be the lieutenant.
Okay. So let me ask a separate question, right? The inmate's allowed to ask for a white shirt or a lieutenant to come down.
Yes,
Nothing wrong with asking for a white shirt to come down.
correct.
Inmate shouldn't be punished in any way for asking for a supervisor to come down.
Correct.
That would be a huge violation of ODRC rules.
Correct.
Okay. When the inmate asks for a supervisor to come down, supervisor can decide whether they want to come down or not, right?
If they are notified about it, they can.
So if they're never notified about it, they can't make that decision.
Correct.
So the guards have the ability to say, hey, we're not going to ask for a supervisor.
Correct.
Okay. Is that the best practice, or is the usual practice of the guards to say, okay, you want a supervisor to come down here, let's do that?
So it's case by case basis, but the supervisors can't be just coming down the housing unit all day long because the inmates don't want to listen to the COs for whatever reason. So it's not something that's done.
Okay. So it should be a major important thing, right?
Mhm.
And I assume taking the property improperly from a cell, that might be an important thing.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not a minor dispute, right? This is actually something significant, right?
So when it comes, if you're asking my opinion, when it comes to the regular contraband, it's not major contraband. If it was serious contraband, then yes, the supervisor would be called because it's a security issue, but not for pillows and stuff.
Okay. So, but and part of it is, I think you said, because there's a process in place, right, for the inmates to complain.
Correct.
Okay, and that process, I think you testified to Ms. Tranter, takes about 7 days to go.
They can immediately, they can send it, and then they have up to 7 days to render a decision.
Okay, so if a fan, let's say, is taken improperly, inmate wouldn't maybe get it back for 7 days.
Correct.
Which is in July, in an unair conditioned place with no windows, that could be a big deal, right?
Correct.
Okay. So let me ask you then, and you have it on tab B, about the personal property of the inmates. And they're allowed to have personal property, right?
Correct.
Okay. Pillows are not contraband, right?
Pillows are only permitted if they've obtained them through an official capacity, like a fundraiser.
Okay.
A fundraiser?
How would you know the difference between a pillow that's an official pillow and an unofficial pillow if you're searching cell?
I mean, common sense, you could see that if there's a homemade pillow in there with the homemade stitching versus a pillow that was obtained to a fundraiser, which
Like
is
a My
obviously-
Pillow seal.
There's no issues with it. It's obviously something that was purchased, not manufactured.
Certificate of
Pillows by themselves, not
authentication.
contraband, right?
They can be contraband.
Some pillows are, some pillows aren't, right?
Correct.
Oh, hey,
Same
Ira.
with a fan, right? Fans are not contraband.
Correct.
Okay. If you alter the fan in some way, that could be contraband, then it can become contraband.
Correct.
So when you reviewed the videos in this case, did you see any indication that the pillows involved were contraband?
My opinion is that they were probably most likely contraband because of what they look like.
But you didn't know that for sure.
Correct.
You weren't there.
Correct.
Now, in the fans, when you reviewed the video, did you see anything in the fans that suggested they were contraband?
I believe the first one was missing the cover, and the second one looks like it may have had some damage to it.
So where in tab B does it say that you cannot have homemade pillows in the personal property policy?
I would have to go over this.
Yeah, take your time.
Take your time.
There's also another policy, 5120-9-55, I believe is the contraband policy that does actually state about the homemade.
Nothing in this policy here, right?
I can go through it, but I'm sure you've already went through it pretty good, so.
And then I want to ask you about tab C, which is the use of force policy, right? You're very familiar with that policy, right?
Sure.
Well, okay, so you're familiar with the term. Let's make sure we're on the same page in some of these terms. There's a term called excessive force, right?
Correct.
Okay, and that's understood to be an application of force, which by either the type of force employed or to the extent to which the force is employed exceeds that which is reasonably necessary under all the circumstances.
Correct.
Except that difference. Okay. Then there's something called reactive force. What's reactive force?
Basically, it's the action. It's force for reactions if you get assaulted or vice versa, and you react immediately.
Okay, so it's supposed to be in response to an immediate threat of harm, right?
Correct.
And then you're supposed to do something called behavioral intervention too, right? What does that term mean?
Basically, you're trying to de-escalate it, de-escalate the situation.
Okay, de-escalation is important, right?
Correct.
Okay, it's part of policy too. Now, before I go through this policy, I want to ask you about something you testified to, pre-aggressive indicators. And you said these could be various behaviors, right?
Mhm.
So you're trying to notice certain behaviors that could lead in the future to assaultive behavior.
Correct.
And some of that includes yelling, physical stances, words, right?
Yes.
Okay. Do those pre-assault indicators by themselves justify use of force?
No.
So just because someone is yelling, that doesn't necessarily justify use of force, right?
Correct.
So let me ask you about this use of force policy then. So first there's.
God damn it.
Oh, my phone was on Do Not Disturb. I apologize.
How unprofessional.
So this use of force policy, part 6A, de-escalation and behavioral intervention, right?
Mhm.
It says that staff are required to de-escalate. What does it mean to give a duty to de-escalate?
They want staff to try to de-escalate it so that it doesn't turn into a use of force situation or more serious situation.
And so little a under 1 says staff should attempt to communicate and verbally interact with the ID to avoid using force, right?
Correct.
So that would mean you're supposed to try to interact with them verbally and calm the situation down before you use pepper spray, for example.
Not
Right.
answering, David.
Pepper spray should be a last resort, not a first resort. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
And so if someone isn't, for example, following your commands, you would try to find a way to get them to comply with commands before you sprayed them in the face.
Correct.
And it says staff are not expected to de-escalate a situation if it places them in risk of harm or physical injury. That makes sense, right?
Correct.
And then there's a section about should mindful create physical space. Why is physical space important?
Obviously, the more space between you and the person you're dealing with, the more space, the less chance of being assaulted.
Okay. So if you have an inmate who's, according to this policy, displaying what you call pre-assaultive behaviors, you probably might want to keep a distance from them rather than close that distance, then, right?
Correct.
Okay. And you're allowed to bring in other people to help out too, right? Part C.
Correct.
Right. So if a person says, "Hey, Supervisor X maybe help to resolve the situation," the staff is then required to call Supervisor X to try to de-escalate the situation.
Not required, but they would be more advised to do it.
Okay. And so when you say there's a duty to de-escalate, right? They have a duty to do that.
Correct.
So if someone asks for a supervisor, they have a duty then, as part of the de-escalation process, to get that supervisor in there to try to resolve the situation.
Ideally, yes.
Yes. Or at least make the phone call, right?
Correct.
I mean, a supervisor could say, no, I'm busy with something else. I can't come down, right?
Correct.
But then at least you've tried to comply with the policy, right?
Correct.
It would be consistent with the policy that just because the person asks for a supervisor, spray them in the face with OC.
Correct.
Same as this, and it's not the use of force policy, but I should ask, are you permitted to take personal property? Let me back up. Are corrections officers permitted to take personal property from an inmate merely because he asked for a supervisor?
No.
Are they permitted to take personal property in retaliation for them complaining about the way a cell is being searched?
No.
Mr. Engel, makes sense to take a break right now, or it seems like we got a ways to go still, right? Or we're finishing up.
If it's okay with the court, maybe I spend 2 more minutes going through this policy, and then,
Okay,
right, that works.
that works.
It's okay. So I just want to spend this one other section. I got it up on the screen here. Staff creating jeopardy. What does that mean?
Basically, it basically means just that the staff member instigated the incident.
And so number one, they're expected to maintain and display respect and professionalism, including to the incarcerated persons. Why is that important?
Because we're there to treat them like people. That's what they are.
Okay, and that's why number two is that they should never, that's an important word there, right? Never, never verbally or physically provoke or abuse an incarcerated person.
Correct.
So how does that all fit together? Could that make the fact that you provoked an incarcerated person make the use of force appear to be unreasonable under the circumstances?
Possibly, yes.
And it's something you would consider as part of your investigator role as you looked at a use of force incident.
Again, I would not be conducting a review of the incident. There was people in place already to conduct that review, and if they found that they were in violation, that they could be subject to discipline.
Now, so one final question before we take a break. When they conduct that review, they rely upon the use of force reports, right?
They're supposed to rely on the evidence, the body cam footage, the video evidence from the units, the statements, see if there's any contradictory statements, and along that with the policy to see if there's any violations by the staff members.
So it's important that the use of force reports be 100% accurate and document everything that happened.
Yeah, correct.
They shouldn't leave out anything that happened.
Correct.
Okay. And my lawyer's spidey sense tingled here for a second because he used the word supposed to. Is it the case that sometimes they don't actually review all that evidence?
Lawyer
They just rely
spidey
upon,
sense.
you know,
So I can't attest to how other people that conduct the reviews for the use of force investigations. I can't attest to what every one of them do, but they're supposed to do that.
okay. So you don't know if anyone actually reviewed the videotapes that you gathered.
No, I don't. I don't.
It's a good place to stop here. That's okay.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and break for lunch. Remember what I've previously told you. You did not know enough about this case to begin thinking about how it should be decided, nor do you know enough about
So don't.
that door, and hold her there for just a second.
Oh, look at those three.
So, for example, if a pillow was takes place, it's not.
Are we ready for the jury?
Oh, everybody's smiling, having a good time.
Next, yeah, downtown.
May be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Was everybody able to follow my instructions and admonitions over our break? All right, Mr. Engel, you may continue.
Thank you, Hunter. So when I left off, I was asking about a couple policies. So what we've marked as Exhibit D is the, we'll talk about E, of course, E is the use of
Mr.
force.
Rocco, do we have the podium up? Right?
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
All right, so E is the use of force investigation policy. You're familiar with this policy too?
Yes,
And this is a policy that requires use of force reports to be completed.
correct.
And it requires use of force reports to be complete and accurate.
Correct.
Include every pertinent detail,
Yes,
including how the incident started.
correct.
And this is the documents he said are reviewed later on down the road by somebody in the institution.
Correct.
And just so we're clear, when that review takes place, it's not like a hearing, right? Like we're here today,
Correct.
right? The inmate doesn't have a lawyer to help him present evidence.
Correct.
He doesn't have access to discovery, so if there's something you don't find, it's not there, right?
Correct.
It's like an administrative management review.
Yeah, they conduct interviews and stuff like that. Everybody that was involved in it are supposed to be interviewed.
Okay. And then finally, I think you mentioned for lunch what's been marked as State's Exhibit 8, which is a contraband policy. You're familiar with that policy, right?
Yes.
Okay, and this is the policy that covers what happens, what's in cells is not supposed to be there.
Correct.
And then what happens when stuff is taken out of the cell.
Correct.
Okay. And so, for example, if a pillow was altered, it would be minor contraband then, right?
Correct.
Okay. So an allowable item is in altered form. And you didn't actually inspect the pillows in this case, right?
No, I did not.
So you don't know if they were actually altered or not.
Correct.
You can't testify one way or the other.
Correct.
But what you do know is that the policy requires documentation when things are confiscated, right?
Correct.
And it says at the very bottom of the page there, you read it, any staff member who confiscates contraband from an inmate shall enter the fact of such confiscation on a log designed for such purpose.
Correct.
Okay. And you do know that was not done in this case, right?
I'm unaware if it was done or not.
You're supposed to gather all the documents relative to the case, right?
Correct.
You didn't see that anyone who confiscated property from Mr. Thomas actually completed the log as required by policy.
Correct.
Now, one of the things you did do was obtain, and may I stay at the desk here for a
That's
moment? Videos.
Just as long as you're in front of a microphone, they'll pick you up.
You did gather all the videotapes in this case, right?
Correct.
Including all the body cam videos.
Yes.
Okay. And these are videotapes kept in the regular course of business by the institution?
Correct.
Okay. And it's your job then to obtain these videos when there's a use of force incident?
It is my job to obtain them if it's a potential criminal matter.
Okay. And this was?
Correct.
Obviously, we're here, right?
Yes.
So, and so you gather them from the institution, has like a database of them, or how do they count?
They get loaded onto a system or a website, and then I can access that site and request permission to share them with trooper cons.
And just, I apologize if I've asked this in a different form, but it's the regular course of business of the institution to do this.
Yes.
This is done for all the body cams and all the corrections officers.
Correct.
Nothing special about the fact that officers have body cameras this day.
Correct.
Now, you got the body cameras from the 3 people involved in the cell search, right?
Correct.
Okay, that was Officer Sigma, Officer Romine, and Officer Black.
Correct.
Okay. Then you got a bunch of other body cam videos. What are those?
Those would have been the staff members that would have responded to the incident as well. Pretty much everybody who responded to the incident, their body cam footage also gets saved just in case.
So you said respond to the incident. So people carry like a little alert button on their uniform?
No. Well, yeah, they have a device that they can activate a man down, where they can call a signal 3 or man down over the radio.
Okay. It's something, is that different than a spider that people carry?
Yeah, they call it. I was going to use the word time spur, but yes, it's spider.
Okay, spider's in there. So
Yeah.
it's like a little device, you press a button and it sends out an alert. The people, they're trained to come running, right?
Correct.
Because someone could be in trouble.
Correct.
So you've looked at these videos too?
Yes.
Okay, so you see people running to the scene, right?
Correct.
And then you see the effort to apprehend and take Mr. Thomas into custody.
Correct.
Am I using the right phrase? I mean, in custody, is that what you would use?
Yeah, we get him secured.
Okay, so they had to put handcuffs on him, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Take them, and I assume they're going to take them off to another location.
That would be medical, and then segregation placement.
Okay, and what segregation place?
The official term is a transitional program unit. It's basically restrictive housing.
Okay. So until whatever he was dealing with would get resolved.
Correct.
And so when you reviewed those, did you review them for the purpose of determining whether the force used to place Mr. Thomas in handcuffs was excessive?
No, it was not. It's not my job to do that. That is part of the use of force committee that would conduct that.
So you didn't form an opinion about that whatsoever?
Correct.
Your job is just to gather that information and hand it over?
Correct.
So let me show you first the, if I could have the computer up on the screen. The body cam footage from Officer Sycamore. It should be, but there it is. Let me get the screen. Here we go. Now, for Officer Sycamore, if you looked at it, his tape is 30 minutes long. You got a lot of stuff from before the incident, right? So is it your understanding that like the first 15 minutes of this has really not a lot to do in this case, and the rest of it is
Correct.
where you come in?
They get the 30-minute increments if the officer does not activate the body camera. So when they pull it, it has to be in 30-minute increments to cover the time frame.
Okay. So if I skip ahead to like 13, 14 minutes, that's perfectly okay.
Just so you know, ladies and gentlemen, the attorneys have stipulated that these videos are going to come into evidence. So you're going to watch them now, clips and so forth. You are going to have the entire videos with you in the jury room on a computer where you can watch them. So if you're making notes and you want to make notes of time indexes and those sorts of things, you will have the opportunity to watch this video again while you are deliberating, if in fact it's admitted into evidence.
Okay. So I'm going to start here at 14:59. It looks like. What are we looking at here?
Would it be the day room?
And when you say day room, what
I'm
is
sorry, it's housing unit 3 Bravo would be the day room of it.
And I think it doesn't work here. I can use a mouse here. So you can see my little mouse here is pointing to these doors here. These are cells.
Correct.
Okay. And that's the water cooler that eventually gets knocked over.
Correct.
Okay. And so what table is this here? Where is the
It would be one of the officers' desk.
and how many officers are typically on duty at a time?
For first and second shift, every housing unit has 2 officers, and on third, 1.
And you can see the timestamp of when this occurs at the top.
Correct.
21:12. So that's 9:12 to normal people.
Correct.
And this would have been before count, probably.
Yes.
But everyone looks like has been put in their cells.
Correct.
Okay. Is that a common practice?
I would have to review it. Sometimes the day room schedules. I may not always be familiar with exactly the day room schedules. There's been some changes over the past couple of years when it comes to the day room schedules and stuff. They may have closed. They may close the day room early prior to count, but without verifying that, I can't really say.
Or people could have been put on lockdown, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And what are some of the reasons that people would be put on lockdown early if there's going to be a cell search?
So really, the only individuals that are authorized to quote unquote lock a unit down would be a supervisor.
So if this unit was locked down before 9:30, then a supervisor must have been involved in that decision. So you're saying.
Should have been, but again, it depends if the day room was closed at 9 o'clock. Without verifying some of the schedules, I wouldn't know to say for sure.
So let me play this video here.
Nobody shoes on. Let's go. Let's get out. Come on, come out. Put my shoes on. I'm gonna step up there and want to sock on my feet.
Pause here for a second at 17:13. That appears to be contraband.
It appears to be homemade alcohol without knowing for sure. I couldn't say for sure, but that's what it
But
appears.
and just so clear, you never did any tests or anything.
No.
No, you're not aware of any tests, right?
Correct.
And we don't have a log that we could look at that actually shows what this was, who confiscated, or why.
Correct.
Let me pause it here real quick. Does this look like a typical cell at Warren Correctional?
Yes,
They're often not kept very neat.
some better than others, some worse than others. Yeah,
And so things like laundry detergent, that's permissible, right?
correct,
See toilet paper there and ice, that's all permissible.
correct.
It looks like the cell's not being searched in a formal manner, but they're just looking around for stuff. Is that a fair description?
They could have obviously searched it differently, but it depends on what the purpose of the cell search would be.
So I'm stopping it here at 2146. This is when you, right after Mr. Thomas was sprayed in the face with pepper spray, right?
Correct.
Okay, and that's an unpleasant thing to get sprayed in the face, right?
Yes,
So this is not an unusual reaction. He would kind of run away and try to get his face cleared off, right?
correct.
And just so we're clear, I'm just going quickly. It looked like the officers came out of the cell and approached Mr. Thomas, right?
Yes.
Did they, from what you were able to observe, create physical space between themselves and Mr. Thomas?
I'm going to object, Your Honor.
Counsel approach.
I'm going to sustain the objection. Let's move on, Mr. Randall. Okay, then at
about 20 minutes, appears his body camera falls on the floor. Is that probably what happens here? And that's us looking up. Correct. So I'm going to stop this one, and then I'm going to play you next what was Officer Romine's body camera. Next, to show you Officer Lice video, who was the third officer involved in the search. I'm stopping it at 239. I believe there's nothing but black the rest of the way. It's confirming everybody. It's a little bit about at the very end that you can see, but nothing. Okay, so next I'll show you one of the officers who responded to the scene, the CO Dunaway. By the way, when you were gathering evidence, did you hear that first part of that videotape, which was before the alert came in?
I did not.
So now that you listen to it, you're able to make up someone saying like, hey, turn around, cuff up, and then right in the face?
That's what it sounds like.
Okay, does that sound like it's being respectful of inmates?
Objection.
I'm going to sustain the objection.
Did
Sure,
you,
we'll
take,
disregard the question.
did you take any action after you heard that statement from Officer Dunaway?
Again, I didn't recall catching that part when I.
Now that it's brought to your attention, what action do you intend to take?
I'll report it, but we'd also need to know the contents of it.
That's why there has to be an investigation, right?
Correct.
Okay, so you'll report it, and then presumably there'll be an investigation now.
Correct.
So you'll be able to report back to us tomorrow that you reported this.
Objection.
Okay, let's move on from this, Mr. Engel. I'm going to sustain the objection. Ladies and gentlemen, doesn't matter what happens from here. That doesn't help or hinder you in the determination that you have to make. Go ahead, Mr. Engel.
Now you got fucked up. Just on the principle of it. I'm gonna stay here for 10 years. Just so that they can.
I'll stop it at 225 while he's being blocked out. Next, Officer Nick.
Wonder who she is. Dr. Nick. Browns. That's a nice location. Look at that. Fresh mowed grass. Leisurely stroll through the field. Nice flowers there, blooming this time of year. You know, just carrying on. Yeah, take your time. Ah, there we go. Come on. Oh, I shouldn't have had that extra donut today. It's a nice complex. So the guard just runs in and just starts beating the crap out of me. Oh, yeah.
He actually punched Roma. He punched Roma. All right, you're right.
Walk it off, Jam.
Deactivate. Deactivate. You hit?
Next we have Officer Bush.
Should not be above grade as a top applicant.
Oh, I like his hair.
Next we have Officer Robertson.
Hey, Ariel.
You do it now. Turn your cameras off. Hold there on. Get him up. Get him up. Get him up. Yeah. All right. Deactivate. You did?
Officer Ballard.
All right. Supervisor in there.
Come on, Chad.
Hey, you hit me first. Thomas, get me over here. Hey, it's not me. I can't breathe. You do it now. Over there. Get him up. Get him up. Yeah. All right. Deactivate.
Officer Anderson. And the last one is Officer Robinson. No other questions, John.
Can you redirect?
Investigator Tamlin, can you policy that Mr. Engel showed you that is marked Defendant's Exhibit E, which is the use of force investigation.
Yes.
The effective date on that exhibit is December 1st, 2024. Do you see that?
Yes,
Okay, so this is not the policy that was in effect on the date of this incident.
that would be correct.
Okay, do you know how, was there a policy in effect at the date of the incident?
100%.
Okay, do you know what changes, if any, were made from that policy that was in effect at the time to this one that is marked December the 1st of 2024?
Without comparing the two of them, Most likely there'll be just some minimal changes, maybe some added language, but the meat and potatoes of it will stay consistent.
Okay, you're not aware of any major changes then? Okay, just wanted to make sure we were clear on that. When a cell search happens and officers take property, when is that confiscation log supposed to be filled out or submitted? Is there a timeline?
So it should be done directly afterwards or with the timely. It's usually it's a contraband control slip is what's done, and if it's contraband, then also a conduct report would also be issued for the contraband.
Okay, so at the same time, kind of simultaneously?
Yes, and then it would be logged into a contraband vault where we keep the inventory.
Okay, so the property itself and the inventory would be logged into the vaults?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know what happened to the property that was in the process of being confiscated?
I do not know.
Okay. Are you aware of any circumstances in this particular instance which would have delayed or prohibited that log from being completed?
Considering a staff assault, it could have easily been overlooked.
Could have been easily overlooked?
Right.
Okay. Do you know what happened to Officer Sycamore and Officer Romine after this incident took place from all these videos we just watched?
I believe they went out outside the hospital for treatment.
They went to the hospital for treatment?
Correct.
Okay. Do corrections officers have any discretion when they're conducting a cell search as to the property that they confiscate?
Yes.
They do?
Yes.
Explain that.
It varies greatly. It varies on the individual, varies on the reasoning for the search. Some minor stuff could be overlooked. Sometimes, or it could be taken. Obviously, any major contraband always gets taken. But when it comes to some of the minor contraband, they can use discretion.
Okay. And why? Actually, let's go back to your time as a CO. You conducted cell searches during your time as a CO?
Yes.
Okay. Were there ever instances where you did not confiscate some sort of minor, we're talking about minor contraband now, in doing your cell searches?
Yes.
What led you into making that type of decision? To not-
Hold on a second. Sir, Council Bridge.
Oh, okay. Hello. I'll see you later. Hey, Paul.
Doing cell searches, are they made aware of the fact that they might have discretion in taking when it comes to minor contraband?
Objection.
I'm going to overrule the objection. Go ahead.
Yes.
As part of their training?
Yes.
No further questions.
Anything else for this witness?
Briefly, Your Honor, where in this policy does it mention that discretion?
It does not.
Nothing else, sir.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You can step down.
This.
You can just leave it right there as well. Ladies and gentlemen, go ahead and take our afternoon break. So remember what I previously told you. You don't know enough about this case.
And they are.
Okay. Now, during the day, is this day room usually populated with inmates?
No, not at this time. All inmates are locked down at this time.
Oh, this
And we're
guy's a
talking about
dweeb.
approximately 9 o'clock at
9
night?
p.m. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What was the lockdown time in that particular block?
I can't remember.
Okay. Before 9 p.m.?
Should be.
Should be.
Yes, ma'am.
You don't know what time they go to bed?
And what happens during lockdown?
No inmates are allowed to be out.
All right.
It's not their recreation time.
Okay.
This guy looks like his
I'm
bedtime
going to
is
draw your
6
attention to
p.m.
this top left corner here. We've
Norton.
got the date and time being July 23rd, and I keep saying June. I apologize. It's actually July, right? At 9:19 p.m. Okay. As far as you know, with that time,
That's accurate, yeah, because I believe it's 9 p.m. that they go in, and then I would have made the call, what I call first assistance from the other officers next door. And so 9:19 is about the time we were probably searching out.
okay.
He's got a Jim Norton-esque.
So you think based upon that, you think about 9 o'clock was lockdown time.
Yes, ma'am.
Are cell searches routinely conducted during lockdown time?
No.
Okay. So are there circumstances where cells would be searched when inmates were out and about in the day room?
Yeah, their cells can be searched during the dayroom time too, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Cells can be searched, yes, during the dayroom time.
During the day room time?
Yeah.
Okay.
But due to the possible threat, I wanted to have everybody put away. put inside.
I'm sorry, there's whispering going on behind me and I'm having a really
I
hard
wanted to
time
have
hearing.
everybody, locked away and put inside their cell before we search this one. because of the level of threat possible.
The
Okay,
defense
You know,
looked
it was
there.
during the dayroom time.
during the
She's-
dayroom time?
yeah.
She just got pissed at the defendant for talking to his lawyer. Look at that.
Their cells can be searched during the dayroom time too. Yeah,
I'm sorry.
cells can be searched, yes, during the dayroom time.
During the dayroom time?
Yeah.
Okay.
But due to the possible threat, I wanted to have everybody put inside.
I'm sorry, there's whispering going on behind me and I'm having a really
I
hard
wanted
time
to have
hearing.
everybody, locked away and put inside their cells before we search this one
What a
because of the level of
bitch.
threat possible.
Okay, what do you mean by the level of threat
Since
possible?
there was a homemade
What a
knife
bitch.
said to be in that cell.
Okay, possibility of a weapon.
Yes, ma'am.
Under those circumstances, a lockdown search is
Yeah.
more common.
The
Yeah, it's
audacity.
deemed safer.
Fair enough. Is that why this particular search happened after lockdown?
Absolutely.
And you just called that out in front of the jury, too. That is
All right.
BS.
Now, let's talk about, is there a procedure for searching an inmate's cell? Like what you're supposed to do?
An inmate steps out, you pat down the inmate, you have them take a seat at the day room,
Okay.
and you begin searching their cell.
Okay.
And-
So when you're conducting a search that is just that everybody else is locked down, you guys just put them in the day room.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a common practice.
Are they secured in any manner as far as cuffs or anything?
No, not particularly.
Not
No,
particularly.
it depends on their behavior and if we feel it's necessary.
So after they are removed, put in the day room, told to take a seat, you said?
Yes, ma'am.
What's the next step in the procedure for cell search?
So at the time, me and Officer Blythe were searching the cell, and Sycamore was standing outside the cell, keeping security and just keeping an eye on the inmates.
Okay. And that's pursuant to procedure?
Yes,
Okay. So one officer is keeping an eye on the inmates
yes, ma'am.
while other officers are conducting the search.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So tell me about this particular search. You said you and Officer Blythe were the ones actually searching the cell.
Yes, ma'am. We were inside the cell, and we were looking for our possible homemade knife. We located numerous other items of contraband that needed to be taken. There was multiple bottles of hooch, a bunch of extra linens. There was a homemade pillow. There was, trying to think, it's been a while. There was a couple broken fans. So just a lot of things that didn't need to be in there that needed to be taken as contraband.
Okay, let's talk about some of these
Okay.
items. You said some homemade hooch.
Yes.
What do you mean by that?
Inmates will take starches, make an alcoholic beverage out of random items.
Okay, make it in their cell?
It depends. There can be inmates that make it and then they buy it from them, or they can make it and they'll keep it for themselves. It just depends.
Okay, so in what stage or status did you find the hooch in the cell?
They were underneath the bed, hidden, and there was, I believe there was like 7 or 8 bottles.
Okay, so bottles,
Yeah, they were in like water bottles.
like water bottles or 2-liter bottles or something?
Yes, ma'am.
So it was already made, not in the process of being made.
Yeah, it was already made. They were just hidden underneath the bed.
Okay, fair enough. And you said linens, extra linens?
Yeah, just like ripped up, torn, altered, items that are not supposed to be altered in any way.
And you took some pillows out of this particular cell,
Yeah,
correct?
yeah.
All right, are inmates not allowed to have pillows?
Not ones that they make themselves, no.
Okay, and how do you determine if they make
God
it
forbid they
themselves?
have a
They
pillow
take their
fight.
jackets and they'll put stuffing inside of it. They'll stitch it up together, stuff like that.
Okay, and they're not allowed to have those?
No, ma'am.
Okay, does the prison issue uniform pillows to everybody?
WCI, no, ma'am. I do not believe they do.
Okay, so is there another manner for an inmate to get a pillow at WCI?
No, ma'am. I do not believe there is.
So none of the inmates have pillows?
Unless they made it themselves. No, ma'am. I do not believe there is.
But in this particular instance, you took ones that were,
Yes, ma'am. It was contraband. It was altered. I took everything that was needed to be removed out of that cell.
okay.
I really hate that
Let's
mic
talk
down.
about, you said fans.
Yes, ma'am.
Are inmates allowed to have fans?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. If they have a title to it, and they're not broken, absolutely.
Okay. And if they are broken, are they allowed to have broken fans?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
That's altered.
Yeah.
If the fan blade's altered, the cord's altered. It doesn't matter. It's whatever's wrong with the fan, it has to be taken if there's something wrong with it or changed.
Okay.
Beyond its prior state.
All right. How many cell searches do you think that you conducted in your time at WCI?
Quite a few. There have been dozens,
Approximately.
more than
You have
50.
a fan, but
50?
not a pillow.
Okay.
yeah.
And in searching these cells, well, let me ask you this. Is there a difference between minor contraband and major contraband? in the context of a cell search?
All contraband is the same,
All contraband is the same.
depending on the threat of security. Like if it's a homemade knife, it's completely different. If there's drugs, it's completely different. But as in like everyday to day things like fans, pillows,
Mhm.
sheets, it's altered. It needs to be removed.
Okay. In conducting your cell searches, over 50 of them in your entire time, did you ever encounter a situation where an inmate had some sort of minor contraband that you did not confiscate?
On the occasion,
Okay.
if the inmate had good behavior and it wasn't an immediate problem, no.
Do you, as a CO, or did you as a CO have discretion?
Yeah, it's good. It's good to build good rapport with the inmates and the incarcerated individuals because they live there and you work there and you have to interact with them every day. So you don't want to build a bad rapport with everybody.
Okay. So the prison allows you to have some discretion in what you may take?
Yes, ma'am.
Really?
So let's talk about this particular search.
Um,
You work with a body camera, correct?
Okay.
So let's take a look at that. I'm going to pull this up, and as far as you know, everything was working properly on your body camera, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So we're going to pull this up and take a look, and you can kind of pause at times. You can kind of walk us through.
So I'm searching
Yeah, Scott, those punishments.
along these on the bottom rack, so I began going through it, saying what needs to be taken, what doesn't need to be taken, what's a major problem, what's not a major problem.
So when you say rack, what do you mean?
Bed.
Bed?
Yes.
Okay. Top bunk, top rack, bottom rack, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Are you aware of, well, let me ask you this. Mr. Thomas at the time, did he have a cellmate?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know whether Mr.
Hey,
Thomas's rack was the top rack or the bottom rack?
I believe Thomas's was the bottom rack.
Okay. You believe, but you,
Yeah, I'm not for certain on whose was there. I wasn't targeting any said person. I was just taking what needed to be taken.
so not for sure which inmate was on which rack, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So this is your body camera. So this is you with the black glove that
Yes,
we're looking at here?
Yep.
All right. Okay. So there's some noise in the background going on. What is all
That's
that?
probably the day room or the inmates in the that we had placed into the day room to be while we were searching their cells. So
Okay.
you can hear Sycamore in the background. I'm not sure what he was saying, but he was speaking.
Those are messy cells.
This was your hand that we just saw in this white fan down here in the left-hand corner
Yeah, that
at
one's destroyed.
where it looks like 56 seconds into the video. Okay. In the background of this, there seems to be somebody saying, go ahead and take the fan.
Yeah, Sycamore was trying to get the inmate to a little more leeway to comply. I believe he was yelling vulgar statements, and Sycamore said, "You keep yelling at us, you keep talking to us in the way you are, and we're going to take the fan."
Okay.
We were going to leave it there and kind of let it be, but
Hmm.
he didn't want to comply, and so we ended up taking the fan because it was contraband.
So
So giving discretion.
what
So it was
what condition
punitive.
is this fan down in the left-hand corner? What was the condition of the fan?
Really?
Contraband. It's destroyed.
How is it destroyed? Like,
There's no fan blade coverings on it. That's the biggest part right there.
okay, so no cover on the
Yeah,
front,
It has an open blade. Yeah.
no cover on the front, open blade.
Yep, that's all there.
But your testimony a few minutes ago was that no, strike that. Did you originally plan to take this fan?
No. So as a CO, when you're
That's
searching
not
yourself,
helpful.
you have discretion of what you want to take. And as we were taking things, we just noticed more things were, not in good shape. Try to get him to comply. Hey, just relax. It's all right. We're trying to look for what we're looking for, and we ended up taking the fan because it was altered and we couldn't get him to comply. So
Why would you have left an altered fan in a cell?
it was hot. It was the hot month, and we just wanted to use discretion to be a little
Well,
more
the fan
personable
still
towards
worked.
the inmates. But there was nothing personable about Mr. Thomas yelling obscenities towards us.
Okay, so you were going to cut him a break and leave him the fan?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, I'm gonna pause it here. What's going on here?
Mr. Thomas just threw the cooler, the day room cooler that houses all the ice water for all the inmates across the day room.
Okay, is that cooler normally out there?
Yes, ma'am, it's for the inmates.
Okay. And what, if anything, was significant from your perspective as a CEO about Mr. Thomas throwing that cooler?
That man is irate. Clearly not wanting to comply with what Sycamore was saying, decided to throw the cooler across the day room, which is a pre-assault indicator.
A pre-assault indicator?
Yeah, like a pre-aggression, pre-assault indicator. That's somebody who's not a calm person.
Okay. Are you trained on pre-assault indicators?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So tell me what happens as a CEO when you witness somebody using pre-assault indicators.
You try to use your IPC skills,
What does that mean? What is
like
IPC?
communication skills, like trying to get people to calm down and get them to calm down. That's
Okay.
what that is.
Okay. All
Trying to
right.
Talk to somebody.
All right. Did you make an attempt to talk to Mr. Thomas?
Due to the elevated threat with that, we did not use IPC skills, no, because he threw the cooler across the room, and that was significant.
Okay. What is there such a thing as an insignificant pre-assault indicator?
Vulgar language, threatening a little bit, just stuff you would like, let's say hypothetically, I don't want to use vulgar language in here, but you call somebody a horrible word, and you're kind of threatening with it. That's a pre-assault indicator, but I believe that one can be, talked through. This is not something you could talk through. This is something physical, and
Because of the physical nature of his actions.
absolutely.
All right. We're hearing multiple times the phrase cuff up.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What does that mean?
It means to cuff up, turn around, cuff up. It's universal there. Every inmate's heard it. It's no different than any other language. It's cuff up.
Okay. So when an inmate is told to cuff up, what are they supposed
They're
to do?
supposed to turn around, place their hands behind their back, cuff up.
Okay.
But be placed in hamstrings.
Okay. Why are they supposed to turn around?
Lessens the threat of somebody getting hurt. It's
How?
safer, officer safety. That way
How does
I'm not-
that lessen the threat?
If I go to place cuffs on you, your hands aren't, you can't throw your hands, you're limited mobility.
Okay. So they're supposed to turn around with their back facing you?
Absolutely.
Okay. If I'm an inmate and you tell me to cuff up and I'm there and I put my hands behind my back like this, am I abiding by your order?
Me, I would say no, because you could still swing on me.
Because I'm still facing you?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you perceive that as still an active threat from your perspective?
Absolutely. There's too big of a chance of still something to happen.
Okay. Okay. Tell us what we just witnessed.
Mr. Thomas received OC spray to the face, which is a tool we use. It's a chemical agent to help gain compliance of an inmate that does not want to comply.
Okay. Is that something you routinely carry with you
Yes, ma'am.
on shift?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Have you personally ever experienced OC spray?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. In what capacity?
Assisting officers, numerous occasions. I've had a few uses of force involving OC spray, and when we were at the training academy, we were directly exposed to it in the enclosed cabin.
They spray you in the
Absolutely.
academy, right?
Yes,
Okay. How does it feel?
it's horrible.
Okay. Does it burn?
If you have a lighter underneath your skin, it's no different. It's pretty bad.
Okay.
Can't see, can't breathe.
Okay. When you use OC spray in this incident, is there like backsplash on you?
Absolutely, yes, ma'am. When you disperse OC, if it's like a liquid, so they come in gel and foam, but this is a liquid. So you spray it, you're gonna have mist that's gonna come back at you, and that's what happened to us.
Because it's out in the open air,
Yeah,
right?
you're exposed. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Did you and your fellow officers in this situation? You've already testified that, in your opinion, it was beyond, because of the physical nature of his actions, it was beyond the point of de-escalation verbally, correct?
Yeah, for officer safety, we wanted to have him cuffed up so we could proceed with the rest of it. have him be able to file his grievance like he's legally allowed to, and
Okay, we'll get there. Okay, I'm working my way up. I've got a plan. All right. So
Oh.
you've got OC spray at your disposal
Yes, ma'am.
to use to control a situation. Do you have any other tools within your reach that can help to de-escalate or control a situation with an inmate?
no, that's it.
That's it.
That's it. We have our handcuffs. We have our OC spray. We got my radio. From my knowledge, that's about it.
Don't carry a baton.
Oh no, absolutely not.
Okay.
No.
Don't carry a gun in the prison, right?
No, ma'am.
So after the burst of OC spray is deployed there, what is the next action? What is the plan for Mr. Thomas?
Are you asking me what his plan was?
I'm asking you what your plan was. What?
Well, you'll see him walking toward the door. I'm not sure why. If there's an instinct to walk to the door, if you wanted to get the door for an advantage, I'm not sure. We wanted his hands behind his back, and we wanted him placing hammer restraints as soon as possible.
Okay, that's what I was asking. So
Absolutely.
you want your next goal is to get him cuffed.
That was the goal. Yes, ma'am.
All right. So what's happening here?
As soon as Sigma held on to Mr. Thomas to place him in handcuffs, he was elbowed in the face.
And walk me through. This is you here, right?
Yes, ma'am.
With the black glove.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And who is in the gray shirt?
That is Officer Sigma.
This is Officer Sycamore.
Yes, ma'am.
And over here with the glasses,
That is Officer Blythe.
that's Officer Blythe. And of course, in the white shirt,
That is Mr. Thomas.
that's Mr. Thomas. Okay. Do you know where his cellmate was at this point?
With the adrenaline and us just so focused on Thomas and getting him, to be in a less combative state. No, ma'am, I was not paying attention to that.
Okay, that's fine. And this area that he's up against here, this looks like a door, right?
That was our front entry door. Yes, ma'am.
Front entry door.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
It's the only way in and out except for the fire escape.
And for this next part, I'm going to slow this down, okay? Because this goes pretty quickly. Would you agree?
Yeah.
When you're looking at it this way. So I'm going to slow this down to about quarter speed. And if you could kind of tell us what's happening.
Gained some more compliance out of him. The first burst worked. He walked towards the door and was not facing us anymore. As soon as he elbowed Sycamore, that's another assaultive indicator. He's actively combative and he's still not complying. So I deployed another short burst of OC to try and get additional compliance,
Okay.
which was ineffective.
You said he had elbowed Sycamore at this point.
Immediately after Sycamore went to place handcuffs on him.
Get him on the ground. Get him on
I'm going to pause it right here. At this point, it's just the three of you struggling with him, correct?
Yes, ma'am. There was OC on his body, and OC, I believe this batch is made with an oil, so it made it difficult to get a good grip.
It's kind of slippery.
Yeah.
Okay. Had other officers been alerted at this point? that
Later,
something
Maddie.
was
Oh,
going on?
absolutely. As soon as he went to the door, we have a GPS locator. I pulled it right away.
He was
to
all
alert the other
greased up.
officers on compound that we have an individual that's
Ah.
not going to comply. So
Okay.
there was an alert right
Okay.
away.
Is that what you guys call signal 3?
We carry it's called a spider, but that's what a signal 3 is. A signal 3 is an officer down or a man down or a staff assault or
Yeah.
an non-compliant inmate. Just something that requires immediate assistance.
Wonder if defense objected to playing it in slow motion.
Kind of hard to see there, but what's going on?
I can't tell from that.
Can't tell what's going on.
Like,
I'm sorry?
I believe that's where he got me in a chokehold.
He got you in a chokehold.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you describe how that happened?
Well, you'll hear me say a little far back, get him on the ground. Once a big guy normally gets on the ground, it's hard for him to get back up. And, we need to get in compliance as soon as possible. We need to hit him on the ground. I was the bigger guy out of all three of us, so I attempted to do a rear fall takedown, and it did not work. I was placed in a headlock or a chokehold, as you will, and I could not breathe.
Okay. And can you describe how you were positioned versus Mr.
His back
Thomas?
was towards the freezer. My left side was towards the front door. I tried to pick him up. So I went to pick him up. He grabbed onto my neck, lifted up, and squeezed, and would not let go.
Okay. So you were attempting to take him down via
Absolutely.
around the waist
I
or
went to grab his legs.
trying to grab his.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's how he was able to manipulate you into a headlock?
Yeah.
Okay. And how did that feel when he had you in the headlock?
At first, didn't think too much of it, and then I realized I wasn't going to get out of it, and I started to think about my mom, my family.
Did it hurt?
Yeah.
Okay. And did it interfere with your
Mama.
ability to breathe?
Absolutely.
Did it interfere with your ability to talk?
Yeah.
Okay. Scary?
Took me back to high school.
I'm gonna go ahead and speed this back. One minute. Okay. We hear somebody hollering for help. Who is that?
That was me.
Okay. And why are you hollering for help?
Because I can't breathe.
Okay. That's the point where you had you in the chokehold?
Yeah.
All right. And now we've got your body camera angled back up, right? Are you out of chokehold at this point?
Damn it.
Okay. Do you recall how you got free from that?
From my description, I believe it was Officer Dunaway and Officer Blythe that pushed me out of it.
Okay. So is it fair to say he didn't let go on his own?
Absolutely not, man. I thought I was going to die.
Fellow officers pulled you away from him, or him away from
it
you?
took two people to separate.
Mommy.
Go ahead and stop it there.
Seriously.
Obviously, you've made your way outside at this point, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What was going on there?
Blindly walking toward medical.
Okay. Blindedly, were you still
Struggling
not
to
able
breathe
to?
still, got OC in my lungs. Skin was on fire, and kind of
Every
out.
time I go to
So
stop
were you
the
still
music,
feeling the
it
effects of
keeps
the OC
going.
spray?
Yeah.
Okay. Still feeling the effects of the chokehold?
Yeah.
All right. Now we're going to take a look at this angle, which is State's Exhibit 1. This is the surveillance camera from the date room, correct?
Yeah, I'm
Alright,
sure it
so-
hurt. I'm sure it was
Before I start playing, tell us what's going on here.
scary.
Who is this person here?
That's Mr.
But
Thornton
he's
Thomas.
acting like it was
Okay,
a life and death
and he's walking
struggle when
around
there
there,
was 8 of them there
and
beating
is
the
this-
guy
Is this the
senseless.
cell that was the subject of the search over here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And who is this officer standing outside?
That is Officer Sycamore.
Okay.
And I own the inmates.
All right. And you and Officer Blythe are inside at this point?
100%.
Like there's a reason he wasn't charged for attempted murder.
And this doesn't have any sound to it, correct?
No, ma'am, that's the
So-
day room mounted camera.
Kind of like an eye in the sky, right?
Yep.
And what did we just see there?
Get to my
Throwing the
right
cooler across the room.
clips.
All right. And once those coolers got out of the way, another person comes into view. Sitting here on
that's,
this.
Thornton's cellie. His
Okay.
cellmate.
All right. So he was sitting on the bench.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Was he causing any disturbance at all during the cell search?
No, not at all. He was sitting there.
Ah.
Hey.
Wait. Oh, there's 2 of me.
And this sort of gives us a different angle from your body camera, right?
Yes, ma'am.
But same
Sorry, guys.
situation. And we're going to pause that there and go into a different view. There we go. So for the record, that was the unit office area. We're going to switch to the laundry room camera and make that one bigger. All right, and we're now looking over here to the right from this camera angle, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and there's like a desk over here.
Yeah, that's our officer station.
Oh, that didn't work very well, did it? There we go. All right. Now we just saw somebody kind of go on the ground. Who is this right here?
That was Sycamore.
That's Officer Sycamore.
Yes, ma'am.
And can you see yourself in this shot?
Barely.
Barely. Where are you at?
Back door.
Over here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you're wearing the black, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What's happening at this point?
Sycamore is trying to gain physical compliance. He looks like he's using a couple forward strikes to gain compliance because he was just hit in the mouth when he went to attempt to restrain him, place him in cuffs. And then once again, when he had fallen to the ground, he was hit again in the face, resulting in him breaking a tooth. And he's just, yeah,
All right. And what did we just see there?
Officer Sycamore getting well done.
By Mr. Thomas?
Yeah.
All right. And was this you that we just saw charging in there?
Yes, ma'am. That's my partner.
All right. You're kind of bent over at that
Man,
point.
right there, yeah.
What were you trying to do there?
Get him off his legs. Get him,
Okay. Is that what you were describing earlier?
yeah, real line takedown. Yeah.
And that's how you ended up in a headlock.
Yes, ma'am.
Sure.
I attempted to grab his legs to have him fall over, and it didn't work for me.
Oh, crap. Thank you, Louise. Remove my damn banner.
And we're seeing other people come through this door now.
That's yard officers. That's everybody.
Okay. And everybody's kind of surrounded,
I'm still in it.
right? And right before this person walked in, we saw a person in a black shirt kind of bent over almost at a 90-degree angle. Is that you?
Yep.
All right. And it looks like, who is this person right here?
I can't tell.
Can't tell,
No, ma'am.
but this is you over here.
Absolutely.
And that's when you got freed.
Yes, ma'am.
So some other officer, one of your
Yeah,
other
it took one or
officers
two officers to pull me out of that.
pulled you out. All right. And there's the remainder of the situation. Ultimately, was he able to be restrained?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. What happened after this? You said you went to
I
medical?
was escorted to medical to be checked and cleared, and I had to be taken to Atrium Hospital.
Okay, so you went to the hospital.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And what happened at the hospital?
I believe I had, I think I had strains on my neck. I can't remember what the official diagnostic was.
Okay, all right, they checked you out. Anything broken or anything?
No.
No.
My neck was sore, and it's still sore to this day. I just haven't checked it out anymore.
Oh, still experiencing pain?
Yeah.
Okay, that wasn't there prior to this assault?
Absolutely not. No.
All right. I'm just gonna throw a couple
Aw.
pictures up here. This is what I marked as case exhibit 6A.
Officer
where
got
is
a
that picture?
boo-boo.
It's a medical.
That's in medical, okay.
That's a
And
beard?
6B, what are we looking at there?
That's swelling and looks like bruising on my neck.
Okay, not a great picture quality, but
Not a great neck either.
is that the area where you were experiencing pain?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And these pictures fairly accurately depict how you looked after that incident?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you
I had to photograph that weak chin. I just not pressed charges.
familiar with
He's used to a sore neck.
a use of force report?
I'm sorry.
Are you familiar with a form called a use of force report?
Absolutely.
What's a use of force report?
You write down what happened.
I did a lot of them in
if
high
you used-
school.
If you used OC, how many grams you used, stuff like that.
Okay.
You write down what happened, detail to detail.
Detail to detail. Okay. Is that something that is required by the prison?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. In any circumstance where there might be an altercation?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know what
Anything
happened?
requires even something medical, like somebody got hurt. It doesn't matter. It needs to be filed under an incident report.
Okay. So any type of incident,
Yes, ma'am.
right? Okay.
Usually me.
Do you know what
who
happens to
returns.
those reports after?
They are viewed by the lieutenants and cleared by the lieutenants.
Okay. And if, did you fill out one for this particular incident?
I believe so. Yes, ma'am.
And do you know, were you ever contacted about it?
I was contacted by OSP. Yes, ma'am.
In regards to this case?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Regarding the use of force report, you said it goes through and
It's
is,
through, I believe, a lieutenant, and I'm not sure if a captain oversees it, but I know it goes through a lieutenant
that's the process in any case, right?
all the time.
Okay, all the time, regardless of if there is a criminal case that follows up or not,
Yes, ma'am.
correct?
Yep.
Okay, so that's the context I'm asking this question in. Did you ever hear anything, not from OSP and Detective Clance, but did you hear anything from the prison regarding this use of force?
Objection.
I'm going to overrule the objection. Go ahead and answer.
In what context?
After you filled this use of force report out,
May we approach, Your Honor?
You may.
Ruh-roh. We got about 40 minutes left. What the hell? I'll power through
The
the day.
objection is overruled. Go ahead, Mr. Shannon.
Your Honor, can we clarify that this is a yes and no question?
Sure. I mean, I thought we already answered, but
Yeah, I just don't, I want the witness to understand he's not supposed to use this as an opportunity to go further.
I mean, we're going to ask a different question now, right?
Sometimes witnesses don't
Okay.
always do what we.
I don't think we've gotten an answer to the last question.
Okay. Go ahead and ask the question again.
Okay, Officer Roman, after you filled out this use of force report and turned it into the prison, did you hear anything further about it from the prison?
Ah.
Yes, ma'am.
You did.
I believe so. What do you mean? I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
Let's move on from this. Mr.
Okay,
Shannon.
all right, that's fine.
Ladies and gentlemen, just disregard that question and that felt process.
Okay, when you search somebody's cell and you remove property.
Yeah.
Okay, is it prison protocol to do a confiscation log of items that were removed from the cell?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Is that something that is required?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you do it here?
I believe so. I'm not familiar.
Is that I don't
know.
remember?
I don't know. I don't remember. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
I apologize.
Did you? Let me ask you this: when do you remember when you filled out the use of force report?
Mhm.
You remember when? When did you do that?
It would have been the same night.
Before you went to the hospital?
This would have been after I believe I got back from the hospital. I would have done that, I believe, after.
Okay,
Because it
so,
wouldn't make sense to do it before.
so you went to the hospital at Atrium,
Yes.
right? Did you go back to the prison? Did you go back to work after you left the hospital?
To come back and fill out the report, I believe so.
You came back to fill out the report.
Wanted
Okay,
mommy
you
to
remember
go
filling out
kiss
the
my
use of force
boo-boo.
report?
Yes.
You do not remember filling out a confiscation log.
I don't.
Do you know what happened to the property that was removed from that cell?
It was likely hot trashed.
Do you know what happened to the property
No,
that was
I do
removed
not.
from the cell? Not what was likely.
I
Do
do
you know
not.
what happened?
I do not know.
All right. Okay, Officer Romine, do you see Mr. Thomas in the courtroom today?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Okay, can you tell me where he's seated and what he's wearing, please?
If you like,
He's wearing blue and he's seated in the middle.
Thank you. Stipulation will be accepted, and I have no further questions.
Mr. Angel, you may inquire.
Good afternoon, sir. When did you start working at WCI?
October 23rd of 2023.
So this incident occurred after you've been there approximately 9 months, is it? Am I doing it right now?
Yes, sir.
Now you, let me make sure I understand some of the paperwork here first. So you did a use of force report the night of the incident, right?
Yes, sir.
And when you did that use of force report, you tried to get detailed as you could.
Absolutely.
You want to include every important detail, right?
Absolutely.
You didn't want to leave anything out
Yes, sir.
because you knew it was important.
Yes, sir.
And you want to make sure you got every detail right.
Yes, sir.
So everything that you said and other officers said was important, right?
Sure.
Okay. What caused inmate Thomas to be upset and knock over that water cooler, for example, would be important.
Yep.
Okay. And so because details are really important, right?
Absolutely.
This is part of your training, right? If it didn't, you have to document everything.
Yes, sir.
A lot of times people are told in their training, if you don't write it down in the report, it didn't, it's like it didn't happen. Have you heard that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that was part of your training too, right? Okay. And then, just sort of setting some of the statements here, you gave an interview with Trooper Clance a couple weeks after the event, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that would have been on August 6th, if you remember.
I don't remember the exact date.
Okay, does that sound like about the right date?
Sure.
And when you were interviewed by Trooper Clance, you'd had a couple days to think about the event, right?
I was traumatized more than anything.
It's still fresh in your mind, right? Okay, did the fact that you were, as you claim, traumatized affect your ability to recall what happened?
No, it didn't affect my ability, but I was kind of distracted.
Okay. But you tried to be
Christ.
truthful with the trooper, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, you didn't want to mislead him about anything.
Absolutely not.
So let's start at the beginning then. I think you testified that you didn't remember Mr. Thomas at all before this incident, right?
Correct.
Because you were working on the second range?
Top range. Yes, sir.
You call it top range or second?
Top range.
You were working on top range, and he, at the time of this incident, was on the bottom range, right? Okay. Isn't it true that Mr. Thomas lived on the top range for a while
I
you
like
were
how he says
signing?
lived.
Not to my knowledge.
When you say not to your knowledge, I'm going to ask a very lawyerly question here. Are you saying that's not true, or are you just saying you don't recall?
I don't recall.
Okay. So it's possible it's true, you just don't recall it very well.
Yeah.
Okay. And isn't it true that you actually searched his cell on that top range at least 3 different times, right?
I don't recall.
Right, so
Okay.
good.
So it's possible you did, you just don't remember. Yeah. And also, isn't it true that you indicated to the trooper that you had no prior issues with Mr. Thomas and described him as a very respectful inmate?
I don't remember him because I never had any negative interactions with him.
Okay. But you did tell the trooper. Well, let me ask you, let's turn to, you have in front of you a book,
Oh.
and you have a tab I1, right?
You talking about this book?
Yeah, tab I. I1,
Uh-oh.
and there's the report from the trooper.
Sure.
And if you turn to the page, it's got at the very bottom, small text, page 111 at the bottom right.
You know that?
On tab I. See that? You see the trooper's
Prosecutors
report
like,
there?
oh shit.
I don't.
Right, first, John.
Send it back.
Yeah, so we got a trooper's report, and you can turn there, one more
Sure.
page. Yeah. You see, he wrote a narrative there, right?
Right here.
Yeah, and what's the last sentence of that narrative?
Roman explained he had no prior issues with Thomas and described Thomas to be a very respectful inmate.
So are you denying that you said that to the trooper?
No, I just don't remember Thomas. I never had any negative interactions with him.
Let's talk about some of these policies. So you have in front of you, let's first talk about the tab A, which is the cell search policy. You familiar with that, right? You were trained on this policy, right?
Yes, sir.
You're familiar with it?
Mhm.
You're told you have to comply with it?
Yeah.
Okay. So let me ask a broad general question before I dig down.
Sure.
You said the policy gives you discretion about taking items or not taking items. Where do I find that in that policy?
Nothing in the policy doesn't say that I don't have any discretion.
Okay. Where does it say you have discretion to take some contraband and leave some contraband?
It doesn't say in the policy that I have discretion, but it doesn't say in the policy that I don't have.
Okay, but it's really important that you follow policies, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, this is, you have 120 guards, you said, and about 1,000 inmates there.
I'm not sure to that.
About 1,000 inmates in WCI. I think that's
Sure.
maybe more. Okay, all the more reason that policies are very important. They guide what you do, right?
Sure.
And they guide how you interact with everyone.
Sure.
Okay, so let me show you. The contraband policy. And you're familiar with this policy too, right? You are familiar with this, right?
Sir, it's been a year and 4 months. Give me a moment, please.
Okay. Well, may I approach, Your Honor?
Sure.
Can you tell me where in this policy it says you have discretion to either take or leave certain contraband?
Sure. It says 2 classes of contraband, major or minor. Minor throughout the facility is pretty much dictated as you don't have to necessarily take it. It says the distinction shall determine the method or manner of disposition of such contraband. So that right there just kind of like gives us, the say that we can or cannot take it.
I'm sorry, where does it say, what words does it say that you have the discretion as opposed to disposition?
It doesn't say discretion, but the minor contraband is not something that's always taken there. So that's discretion within the facility.
Okay. Now, Okay, so you claim that you have discretion to do this. Now, by the way, you don't have discretion about taking a log, right? You agree.
Taking a what?
Making a log. If you take any policy, you have to, contraband, you have to take a
No, I
log.
never said you're making a law.
Do you have a copy of that log?
Sorry?
Do you have a copy of the log that you took for the contraband that you confiscated from Mr. Thomas?
Explain yourself a little more. Do I have a?
Well, you took pillows from him that you claim are contraband, right?
Yeah, that's contraband. It's
And
altered.
you took fans, right?
It was altered. Had a missing fan blade.
I didn't ask why you did. I just
Okay.
yes or no question.
Sure.
You took the fans, right?
Sure.
You took the pillows.
Sure.
You took the hooch.
Yes.
Okay. Where's the log?
The log.
Yeah, where's the log? I haven't seen it. Where
The log
is
of
it?
what, sir?
The log that this policy says any staff member who confiscates contraband from an inmate shall means no discretion. You have to do it, right? Shall enter the fact of such confiscation on a log.
So if it was
Where
taken,
is that log?
so if it was taken, it would be on the contraband slips that we create.
Okay, where is that? Do you have that with you?
I do not have it with
Did
me.
you
No.
give it to the trooper?
I did not give it to the trooper. No.
Did you give it to your supervisor?
That's possible.
Fine, I want to know what the other. I mean, we're not impossible. I want to know where is that log? Where does it live? Or is it-
Sir, I'm going to object. We're becoming argumentative. It's been asked and answered.
Let's take a breath. And I think we've established what we're going to establish. Are we done with this, Mr. Engel? Or
Yes.
all right, let's move on.
Now, on July 23rd, you decide you're going to do a search of Mr. Thomas's cell, right?
Absolutely.
And it's because you received the tip that there is a shank.
Yeah.
Who do you see that the tip from?
An anonymous inmate.
An anonymous inmate.
Mhm.
And so how did this anonymous person provide the information to you?
Do I have to answer that?
You do?
The inmate approached me. He'd like to help out officers and told me that there was a shank over in that cell, possibly. And so we searched it for officer safety because it's a very violent institution. There's a lot of incidents that happen against staff.
Okay, so it's not an anonymous inmate, it's just you feel it's not appropriate.
No, it's anonymous
Right.
because I don't remember the inmate's name.
Again, another detail, right? It's pretty important and you didn't write it down anywhere.
Sure.
Okay. And you didn't actually find a shank in the cell, did you?
We did not get to that point, no.
Well, you didn't find it. It's a yes or no question. You didn't find a shank in the cell.
Not yet, no. Or not, no.
Not ever.
We were interrupted.
Okay, you could have gone back though, right?
I did not go back, no.
Someone else could have gone back, right?
Sure.
I mean, so to the best of your knowledge, no shank was ever found in that cell.
No.
Okay. There was some hooch found in the cell, right?
Yeah, a significant amount.
Okay, and inmate Thomas's roommate said, "Hey, that's mine," right?
Sure.
So it wasn't Mr. Thomas's hooch. And then everyone else, while you do this, is on lockdown, right?
Absolutely.
So let me ask you this:
Love that. Not yet.
Are you required to follow institutional policies,
It'll be there one day.
and you're required to treat inmates with respect,
Absolutely.
and you're required to not provoke them or abuse them?
Absolutely.
And if you did, there would be consequences for that, right?
I want to be
Absolutely.
treated like
So
I
if you
wanted
took
to be in high
someone's
school.
property as a punitive measure, that would be a violation of policy, right?
Define property.
Well, inmates are allowed to have property, right?
Define property. Like, are you referring to the fans?
Just in general. Let's
The
talk in
fans-
general. Inmates are allowed to have property,
My
right?
knowledge, the fans did not have a title to them, so they were not his property.
So you're free to leave them or take them as you will. And you can do, so can you do it for any reason?
Discretionary.
Okay, so if you want to punish him for something he said, you're allowed to take that fan?
Based on his behavior, we weren't going to take the fan, but he decided to not comply with us and calm down a little bit. And,
Okay, so you say not comply. He left the cell, right?
yeah, he left the cell.
He's voluntary. He was just standing there outside the cell,
Being
right?
very vulgar,
Okay, he's being
no
vulgar.
sceneries,
What, and so,
causing distraction in the day room.
so you're allowed to punish him for being vulgar?
Um,
I mean, there's a process, right? If an inmate's misbehaving, you have a process, right? You have an RIB, right?
Sure.
You could write up the inmate and say, hey, this inmate is
absolutely.
being vulgar.
That's a vulgar statement against staff. So, yeah,
So instead of doing an RIB, you guys decide you're going to take it into your own hands, punish him for being vulgar by taking his fans.
it wasn't his fan.
Whose fan was it?
It's unknown. He didn't have a title to it.
Okay, well, someone's
Anybody can
fan.
write their name on a fan and say it's fine.
So you're going to take the fan that was in his cell.
It was not his, no.
Sir, just asking. You didn't write him up to the RIB, right?
I did not write Mr. Thomas.
That was an option you could have had for him being vulgar.
Absolutely.
Okay, being vulgar, not a threat to anybody, right?
Depending on how he says it and how he displays his.
Okay. But he's standing far away and he's just yelling nasty things, right?
your fan. I
I
want
can
my
stand from
fan.
right here and say I'm going to kick your ass, and that's a threat.
Okay, but if you just called me, if you just yelled at me and argued with me, kind of like we're doing now, I don't feel threatened. Do you feel threatened by me?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
You just told
So
Yeah.
if you thought, so Mr. Thomas is outside the cell yelling some things, you could have written him up to the RIB if you thought that was appropriate, right?
Yeah, it's disrespectful towards staff.
Instead, there's a couple fans in there, and you guys say, hey, if you don't be quiet, we're going to take your fans.
Yep.
Okay, so you're punishing him for expressing himself. So instead, in other words, instead of using the institutional
You're gonna take the
process,
fans
you
regardless.
Hold on. Everybody stop talking. We need to review the ground rules. Mr. Engel, one question at a time. Officer, if he asks you a yes or no question, he is entitled to a yes or no answer. So if he asks you a yes or no question, your response is to be either yes or no, or I don't remember, I don't know, or please rephrase your question. All right, let's take a breath and let's start over.
Let's assume for a minute that these fans and these pillows are contraband, right? Let's assume we agree with you. Okay. You weren't going to take the fans out of that cell until he started talking, right?
I don't know.
Well,
You don't
do
know?
what Sigma says, if you keep talking, we're going to take your fans, right? Let's look at your videotape here.
How long? It's supposed to be over tomorrow, maybe Wednesday.
Did you hear say one more word, I'm taking your fan?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then he kept talking. They said, okay, we're taking your fan.
Yeah.
And after you take the fans, you guys can continue to toss and search the cell, right?
Yes, sir.
And you actually take two fans from there. Right? And you put them in a bag, right?
Yep.
And I think I heard the phrase hot trash. Does that mean incinerated?
No, hot trash. We have a. Would you like me to explain? We have a middle corridor where we put all the contraband that's not significant. It's just we don't want the inmates to get a hold of it. So like paper clips, pens, anything that can poke you, make tattoo stuff, fans. Fans was a big one because especially if they didn't have a title to it, they're just hot trash. They're not significant. It's something that can be disposed of.
When you say someone doesn't have a title to it, you mean like there should be a sticker with his
Yeah,
name on it?
inmates are allowed to buy fans from the commissary. They'll get a paper title that has their name on it. And
So did you add? So I'm sorry, I didn't see on the tape where you looked for that paper title. What, did I miss it?
I'm sorry?
Did I miss it? I mean, I watched. Let me go back here to the beginning of your tape. Where tell me to stop when you show me that you're looking for the paper title.
Was it saying that we can took to the altar?
Wait, where on that section of the tape I played were you looking for the paper title to that fan to determine whether he actually?
If it was altered, then it wasn't relevant at that time.
Okay, I'm confused, sir, because you just a second ago said you didn't have title to the fan. I want to know what you did.
I found out afterwards there was no title for that fan. It was inspected and there was no title. But during that search, the fan was altered and it was not allowed to be in that cell. It had a broken fan blade. So.
But just so we're clear, you were going to ignore all that until Mr. Thomas started talking enough to Mr. Sycamore.
Yeah, I was going to use discretion and let him keep it because, like I said, it was hot, and I get it. People want to live their lives in comfort, and I try to build rapport with the inmates. So I try to let him keep it at first.
Did you hear Mr. Thomas make any threats of physical violence?
No, I did not. I wasn't in the day room receiving the verbal.
And then after he knocks over the water cooler, you guys go outside, right?
It's plugged into something.
You know, someone said, was that you? I don't know if it's altered.
Yeah, I wasn't looking at the fan directly.
So you decided to keep it even though you didn't know if it had been altered.
My partner said it was.
So
So I
why
don't
did,
know if it's altered, and I believe he said yes, it is.
so why did he say, I don't know? Why did you say, I don't know?
Because I wasn't looking at it directly, and I didn't pick it up.
Didn't you pick it up? Isn't that you holding it in your hand?
Where at? Can you go back, please? It's plugged into something.
There it is. You got your hand on it.
Yeah, it's plugged into something that has a broken fan blade.
So you wait. I'm sorry. I'm confused again. Because you got your hand on this fan, and I thought I heard you say, I don't know if it's altered.
Which one? There's multiple fans.
The one that your hand on.
Can you play the video, please?
Dude.
There you go.
Said, I don't know.
Yeah.
But you're taking it in. Right, so let's play this videotape, and then you go out in the hallway. And you tell him to cuff up, right?
Yep.
And he walks backwards away from you a little bit, right?
Play the video, please.
Just the 3-step factors there, right?
His fists are clenched,
This is like,
and he's got a bladed stance.
Now let me pause here because I want to ask you about your use of force report. Which you've got on tab I. Look in front of you.
Is this where the OSP report is?
No, I2. Yep, in the book, there's a tab I2.
Give me 1 moment, please. On the back page?
There's a tab I2.
I'm on I2. Is it on the back page?
Well, this is your report, right? So use of force report at the top.
You want the front page or the back page?
Start at the beginning.
Sure.
It says use of force report, right?
Yep.
That's your name there, right?
Yes, sir.
That's the one you filled out.
Yes, sir.
And it's important, as we said, to include all the details in there, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you said, you wrote the search of cell 3D151 was conducted due to us having a tip there was a homemade weapon located in cell 151. That's right.
151. Oh, yeah, 151.
Reading that first paragraph, first big paragraph, right? As I, Officer Romine, and Officer Blythe were conducting our search, we located multiple bottles of what was believed to be hooch and other pieces of altered items.
Yep.
Right? Inmate Thomas became irate and threw our water cooler down in the day room, displaying violent behavior.
Correct.
Okay. Now, you didn't mention that you took his fan because he was talking, right?
Mhm.
That's not in that report.
It was
Yes,
my
sir.
contraband. I didn't report that.
You didn't report that Sycamore said take his fans because he was talking.
No.
That detail's not in there.
No.
And you say he became irate, threw our water cooler down in the day room, displaying violent behavior. And you thought that was violent behavior, right?
Yes, sir.
You gave him multiple commands to turn around and cuff up, right?
Correct.
That's what your testimony. Then you write, inmate Thomas pulled his pants up, displaying pre-assault indicators. So where do we see
Yeah,
him pull his
the
pants up?
pants
Pulling his
was,
pants up is a
was
pre-assault
inaccurate. I believe
indicator.
I thought I saw him because he went to reach like this, and it was just a quick out of the moment thing. And I could have sworn I seen him do that, but it was inaccurate right there.
So that's an inaccurate statement in that use. of
That
force.
piece, yes, it is.
So there's really, so far we've discussed 2 inaccuracies, right? You didn't include Sycamore statement, we're going to take your fan if you're not quiet. And now you say
I
it's
was not the one
inaccurate.
that
Let me
made
finish
this.
this question, please.
So that's 2, right? You didn't include Sycamore's client saying, if you're not quiet, we're going to take your fan. And you didn't include in that, or you did include that he pulled his pants up and that didn't happen. Correct. 2 things that are wrong there.
There's a lot of variables.
A lot of things that just aren't correct then, right? Now, as he's backing up, he doesn't make any threats, does he?
Play video.
Hey, man.
He didn't make any threats there, did he?
Prior to this, he had clenched fists. He's demanding a white shirt.
Okay, he's got a bunch of, there's also a time that his
And
hands open,
he's
right?
refusing multiple directives to not cuff up. We gave him numerous directives and I believe 4 or 5 final directives, and he still wouldn't do it.
I understand what you're saying. Just answer my question, please, sir. He didn't make any threats of violence to you, right?
No.
Okay, the example you just gave, for example, was I'll kick your ass, right? He didn't say that, right?
Yeah, but that's not a
Okay,
requirement
yes.
to cuff somebody up.
Yes or no questions? Yes
Yes
or
or
no
no?
answers?
He didn't say that, right?
No.
Okay. He's asking for a white shirt, right?
Sure.
Okay, and I think you had said in your testimony that a lieutenant had approved the search.
Captain did.
The captain did.
Captain
Okay,
did.
captain rates above lieutenant, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the captain would also be a white shirt then, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we know a white shirt's around somewhere.
Yep.
Okay, and you decide you're not gonna call a white shirt.
It's not required. No,
I didn't ask if it was required. You made the decision not to do it, right?
it's not required. No,
But you had that option.
due to officer safety, I did not call in the captain or
Okay,
lieutenant.
it's a yes or no question. You had the option to call a white shirt, didn't you?
Yes.
And you chose not to.
Correct.
Instead, you chose to spray him in the face with pepper spray.
I chose not to put any other officers in harm.
Again, you chose to spray him in the face with pepper spray. Look at it on the screen right here.
He's non-compliant.
Did you spray him in the face with pepper spray?
Absolutely,
Where are his hands?
at his waist.
Okay, and you saw the video. He's putting his hands behind his back when you spray him, isn't he?
Replay it.
Isn't he putting his hands behind his back when you spray him?
Replay it, please.
Let me find a different view. Maybe that'll help. There's Officer Blythe's video. I'm showing you 134. Officer live video. And you saw him putting his hands behind his face, right? His back right before he sprayed, right?
I did not know.
Play it again. You saw it there, right?
I believe that's where I thought he was going to pull up his pants, so that might have not been an inaccuracy.
Right. So in fact, it's more than just that it was inaccurate. It sounds like that he wasn't pulling up his pants. It was inaccurate in that he was actually putting his hands behind his back to comply with your commands.
He wasn't.
And then when you sprayed him. Now, you're familiar with the use of force policy, right?
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Well, you were trained on it, right?
Yes, sir.
And I think you testified you're supposed to, he was actually putting his hands behind his back to comply with your commands.
He wasn't.
And then when you sprayed him. Now, you're familiar with the use of force policy, right?
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Well, you were trained on it, right?
Yes, sir.
And I think you
In a
testified
minute.
you're supposed to attempt to de-escalate situations, right?
Yes, sir.
The term is IPC. What is IPC?
I don't know what it stands for. I just know it's a communication skill to de-escalate.
Interpersonal communications. That sound right?
Yes, sir.
Policy says that all staff are required to use
Is there a
interpersonal
mercy rule
communication
for
skills
cross?
and behavioral intervention techniques to de-escalate a situation, right?
Yes, sir.
Did you do that with Mr. Thomas?
We asked him to cuff up multiple times. Would not cuff up.
Okay, so what did you do to de-escalate the situation?
We asked
Consistent
him
with
to
your
cuff
duty
up,
under this
and he
policy?
would not cuff up.
I'm confused again,
Okay.
because it sounds like you gave him a command and then he argued with you and you sprayed him.
Well,
Where's the de-escalation in that description I just gave?
when I told him to cuff up,
Okay, so is it your testimony that telling him to cuff up is de-escalation?
absolutely, I'm trying to de-escalate the situation to have him cuff up.
So in your view, de-escalation is synonymous with do as I say right now?
Sorry?
Is that, I'm trying to figure out what, you gave him a command, he's supposed to reply.
He took a pre-fighting stance, clenched fist, related stance. We asked him to cuff up multiple times. He did not comply. So we used a short burst of OC to gain compliance.
And so your testimony to this jury is that spraying him in the face with OC was de-escalation.
De-escalation was when we asked him to cuff up 12 times and gave him 4 additional final directives to cuff up, and he would not cuff up after being violently throwing the cooler across the day room.
Okay, and
Clenching
so
his fist.
that's you believe, that's your testimony is your de-escalation efforts that you're
Absolutely.
Right. And so it said, for example, part B, that you should be mindful to create physical space. What did you do to create physical space between yourselves and someone who's hostile?
We deployed OC to create physical distance.
Well, it looked to me like you closed the physical distance, right? You came out of the cell and approached him.
You're correct.
That's not,
You're correct.
okay. So you didn't comply with that part of the policy, right? And I think we already talked about, you chose not to call a white shirt. You could have if you wanted to.
To prevent any other officers being in a situation. Correct.
Well, so let me see if I set the stage right. There's no other inmates out there other than his cellmate in the stateroom, right?
Yeah.
You guys are at the cell, right?
Yep.
He's moving away. He's backing up, moving away from you. He's not approaching you guys, right?
Sure.
He's not
Oh,
making any verbal threats to you, right?
Clenched fist and a belated stance is a threat.
He didn't make any verbal threats to you, did he?
Not that I heard, no.
So you had a radio on, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You're in the cell when you hear it goes on, right?
Mhm.
You could have turned on your radio and said, hey, we got someone who's upset down here. Why don't we call a supervisor down to try to de-escalate the situation? You could have done that.
Correct.
You didn't do that.
I don't have to.
It asked if you had to. I asked if you did do it.
Correct. I did not do it.
Okay. And just so we're clear, you say you don't have to. The policy says you do, though, right? The policy says you're required to use interpersonal communication skills and behavioral techniques to de-escalate a situation. That's what you were required to do. Right?
It's me using verbal skills.
Now, after you spray him with pepper spray, he walks away from you, right?
doing a great job de-escalating this
Correct.
cross.
And you and the other officers followed him to where he went.
To place him in handcuffs, yes.
And it's Officer Sycamore who's the first person to put hands on him.
Correct.
Now, at this time, he's been sprayed by three officers or two officers who sprayed him in the face with pepper
It's 3 officers.
Three officers, which is really unpleasant, right?
Yes.
Okay. And now it's in the air, right? So everyone's coughing.
Yep.
Everyone's feeling the effects of this OC.
Yep.
And again, you had a duty to de-escalate the situation. What did you do at that moment to de-escalate the
We
situation?
attempted to place him in handcuffs, and he elbowed Sycamore in the face.
Okay. So your idea of de-escalating the situation again was to put him in handcuffs instead of trying to talk to him and deal with the situation.
Correct.
And you say he elbowed him in the face. Well, is it possible he's just flailing around because he doesn't know what's going on because he's been sprayed 3 times in the face with pepper spray and he's trying to get it out of his eyes and nose?
Absolutely not.
And how do you know that?
Because shortly after that, he turned towards Sycamore again and wailed on him multiple times, breaking his tooth.
Yeah.
And then placed me in a headlock, to which I will never forget.
Okay,
So that
you
man
said,
knew what he was doing.
puts in a headlock. You were the one who approached him, right? You approach him, try to take him down, and he puts you in a headlock to try to keep standing up.
I attempted to place a non-compliant, aggressive, assaultive inmate on the ground to be placed in hand restraints. Yes.
Then after that, I heard you not breathing. And, the pepper spray certainly affected your ability to breathe there, right?
Yeah, it added to it.
So the reason he couldn't breathe is because of the pepper spray.
You were released from the hospital shortly after that, right?
I believe so.
You're not being treated for any permanent injuries or anything like that.
I have not pursued anything, no, but I still have neck pain to this day.
Are you seeing a doctor for that neck pain?
I have not, no.
You're still able to work, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't affect any of your day-to-day activities.
No, but it's like an agitation. It's annoying.
Are you fucking serious? I'm sorry.
Now you agree that you're not supposed to verbally or physically provoke or abuse an incarcerated person, right?
Correct.
And you're also supposed to use care to avoid creating a situation where an incarcerated person may attempt to assault an employee.
Can you repeat that, sir?
Sure, I'm looking at the policy here, use of force policy again, right? Number 3, the employee must use care to avoid creating situations where an incarcerated person may attempt to assault the employee or others.
Sure.
And you were aware when you did this that if you were found to have provoked Mr. Thomas, that you could be subject to discipline or even criminal prosecution, right?
Sure.
I can have one more. I have no further questions. Thank you.
Sure.
I got no more use for this guy.
Officer Romine, were you subject to discipline as a result of this offense?
Absolutely not, ma'am.
Were you subject to criminal prosecution as a result of this incident?
No, ma'am.
Why did you not call a supervisor?
I did not call supervisor because I didn't want to put any other officers in harm's way.
Did you feel it was a matter of officer safety?
Absolutely,
Is
ma'am.
that why you made the decisions that you made?
Absolutely, ma'am.
Okay, I'm going to refer you to this portion of the use of force policy that Mr. Engel keeps referring to.
Yes, ma'am.
All staff are required to use interpersonal communication skills and behavioral intervention techniques to de-escalate a situation,
Yes, ma'am.
right?
Yes, ma'am.
That sentence goes on, doesn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you finish that sentence for me, please?
Whenever it is safe and possible to do so.
Was it safe and possible to do so in this incident?
No, ma'am.
All right, Ms. Caracco, if you could switch over to the other thing, I want to show you one more thing, Officer Romine. Do you recall how many fans were in that cell?
There was a bunch.
I'm sorry,
I believe there was a bunch.
there was a bunch. Do you recall how many that you took?
I don't know.
Okay, let's take a look at this. I'm going to show it from Officer Blythe's body cam because it's a little bit better angle. So we're going to start at
Yeah, you
38
can.
seconds in. I'm going to go back just a little bit.
All right, just stand there.
Okay, we're looking at the top of this shelf, right? How many fans are on the top of that shelf? And you guys are in the process of taking one, right?
Yes.
They actually brought that up during voir dire.
Why was that fan taken?
I did not see it, but it had to have been altered in some state.
Okay, well, let's go back and look.
Keep talking, I'm gonna take your fan. Say one more word, I'll take your, okay, take a fan.
Can you see it there?
Looks like the fan blade's broken on it.
Give me that one, too. Oh, they want to run them out? Yeah, it is.
Looks like another fan's being taken there, right? Why'd you take that fan?
There's no cover on it. It has an open blade.
Altered?
Yes, ma'am.
I guess there's no cover on it and the blade is he can hurt his finger.
What happened to this fan up here?
I'm not sure, ma'am.
Did you take it?
I can't remember.
Does it look like you took it?
I believe so.
It looks like you took it?
I'm not sure,
Doesn't
ma'am.
the video speak for itself on this, Ms. Trainer, if he doesn't know?
Yes. Do you remember what that fan condition was?
That one I think was good. That's why it remained in the cell.
Did you take those fans to punish Mr. Thomas for using naughty language with you?
No, ma'am.
I have no further questions.
Mr. Inman?
Nothing, Your Honor.
All right,
Oh,
thank you. You can sit
God.
down.
Thank you.
That'd be amazing with teeth.
It makes sense to go ahead and break for the evening, right?
Sure.
All right, ladies
Sure.
and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and break for the night, and we are going to
That was a reluctant sure. Wow. That was something. Okay, so we got through day 1 today. Kind of powered through it. And poor officer is, I wonder what the odds are he's going to get a DUI tonight. Oof. The day could have gone better for him. So the defendant's supposed to testify. Maybe we'll see that tomorrow. Hey, Paul, I'm going to rewatch the streams. I missed the first 2 hours. It gets pretty interesting. Well, the first like hour and a half was voir dire. But yeah, I definitely went longer than I usually do, but why not? Jail guards are not smart. Very true. I mean, I don't know where I'm at. The officers did not, or the guards did not make good choices here. But I will be, look at me, Dolly's the law tuber now. I'll be back tomorrow morning at 10 for courtroom roulette, and then 5 Eastern for day 2. So we'll start this again, see where it goes. Hopefully he'll testify tomorrow. Hopefully it'll be done. We'll have a verdict, which would be nice. But we'll see. Yeah, I'm gonna end now. Thanks everyone for being here. Thanks Louise for helping, and Irish. So yeah, good to see y'all, and I shall see you guys tomorrow. Yep, 10 a.m. for roulette. Bye.